Chapter 2049. See? You don't want to either. It's my new home. It's only been 7 months since Mingyue Villa was built. It's also my new home. You're already so rich. Why are you so stingy? You won't lose much either. Seeing that Chun Zhao and Stephen were talking about how rich the other was again, Portia escaped to the side. It was too ironic that 2 billionaires were talking about how rich the other was. You said I'm stingy. I just finished building my new home, and you want a room immediately. Did I say anything wrong? It's just a room. How long can I stay here? It's not a problem of how long. You said that it's your room. Can I let someone else stay there? In the next 2 days, the house was basically in chaos. Even Chun Zhao and Fei Lai were a bit forgetful. They needed to bring something and didn't need to bring something. This became even more obvious after Zafra asked for leave. As Chun Zhao's assistant, Portia's job was to remind Chun Zhao, but she had never been a meticulous assistant. Even she was often forgetful herself. She couldn't remind Chun Zhao what to bring and what not to bring, but she could run errands. At first, Portia thought that she could slack off when helping Chun Zhao carry things he left behind. She drove slowly and enjoyed the scenery along the way, but she soon realized that she was wrong. If she was too slow on the way, Chun Zhao wouldn't let her eat lunch and dinner. Moreover, she would not be idle from morning till night. After 3 days, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. To be honest, moving was too troublesome. Chun Zhao's family also moved from Mingyue Villa to Mirror Lake Manor. Xian Li, this is our new home. Chun Zhao was on a video call with Xian Li. Uncle, where's my room? It's the second room in front. Chun Zhao didn't need to use his phone. He could connect to the butler system and video call with the cameras along the way. But there were no cameras in Xian Li's room. Send a 3D image of her room to Xian Li. Xian Li, do you need anything? Let's wait until I get back, Xian Li said. Oh, where are you now? Chun Zhao asked. In reality, Chun Zhao obviously knew where Xian Li was. She had used her credit card to buy a few plane tickets to Rome 2 days ago. According to 23rd Gen, Xian Li and the others were in Rome. They seemed to have made some progress in tracking down the golden apple. He had obtained a very useful clue. Now, they were following this clue and continuing to investigate. Moreover, this clue seemed to be crucial. Xian Li, are you talking to the president? Yes, Uncle moved to a new house. Xian Li hung up and looked at Ruan. Did you find any clues today? We've made some progress on Godder's score, but we still don't have any clues about the departure point. It was said that the person who could play this music could attract the attendants of the ocean. These sea servants were the servants of Poseidon. Only they could lead people through the storms of the Aegean Sea and finally set foot on the sacred Mount Olympus. The legendary golden apple was in the sacred garden. The owner of the holy garden was Zeus, but the one who truly controlled the holy garden was Queen Hera. Hera wasn't just the queen of heaven. She was also Zeus' older sister. At the same time, she was responsible for fertility and harvest. Zeus' illegitimate son, Hercules, was the guardian of the sacred garden. Naturally, he was under Hera's control. In short, what they needed to find was a way to take them to Mount Olympus. The 3 main gods in Greek mythology, headed by Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, and the vast divine system, were all named after the Olympian gods. In reality, there was also a Mount Olympus, also known as Mount Olympus. It was the highest mountain in Greece, about 100 kilometers away from Thessaloniki, the second largest city in Greece. Olympus in ancient Greek meant the place of light. Where the light was, it pointed to an extraordinary path. It was impossible to reach the place of light with normal means. In Greek mythology, the only way to reach Olympus was by riding on the thunder of Zeus and the carriage of Apollo. This was the mode of transportation of the gods. If humans wanted to set foot on Olympus, they could only rely on Poseidon's guidance. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Xian Li and Ruan looked at each other. It wasn't Colin's or Reese's habit to knock on the door. The two of them would usually start quarreling as soon as they reached the door, and they wouldn't just knock once. Xian Li had also gradually transformed from a newbie to a skilled player. She could not say that she could face all the situations, but she still had the least bit of vigilance. Along the way, Xin Li had experienced a lot. There were setbacks and gains. Ruan opened the door. There was a woman standing outside, a beautiful woman. She was tall, with wavy brown hair that went past her shoulders, and a pair of beautiful earrings dangled from her ears. "Beautiful lady, are you in the wrong room?" "No." The beautiful woman glanced at Ruan. "I heard that you are looking for Godderess's score. Is that true?" Ruan did not hide it. After all, he had put up a reward in the local supernatural world. It was already public, and there was no need to hide it. "Do you have any clues?" "What can you give me?" the beautiful woman asked. "It's still up to you to name the price," Ruan Faxben said. Xin Li already knew how to sew Ruan's mouth when he was bargaining with others. Because of her naivety, she had caused a lot of trouble for Ruan. So now, as long as Ruan Faxi was bargaining with outsiders, she would shut up. Even if she had questions, she would ask them later. Actually, Chun Zhao had asked Xin Li to come with Ruan and Risa. His goal was for Xin Li to learn from them. It was not to learn from their way of doing things, but to learn from their adaptability. "I want the golden apple," the beautiful woman said. "Ah, we are looking for Godderess's score. What does that have to do with the golden apple?" Ruan laughed. "We are all smart people. There is no need to be so secretive," the beautiful woman said. The beautiful woman said, "Since I know what your ultimate goal is, of course I'm 100% sure that Godder's score was specially composed for the title messenger. You definitely wouldn't be looking for the score for the sake of the music." Chapter 2050. Fine. Even if you're right and we're really going to find the golden apple, why do you think a clue is enough to exchange for the golden apple? If you take the golden apple, won't our efforts be useless? Do you think we went through so much just to work for you? There are 3 golden apples. I only want one of them. Also, the beautiful woman took out a scroll. "This is Godderess's score. I'm the only one in the world who can play it. I'm also the only one who can play Godderess's score. Also, I have an armed force, so my request is reasonable." Ruan Faxben stared at the beautiful woman before him. Legend has it that Godderess is the illegitimate daughter of Poseidon. She was born with extraordinary musical talent. Every day, she would practice the guqin by the sea. Then, she would gather many title messengers. One day, the title messengers wrote a musical score for Godderess, and all the title messengers swore that as long as they heard Godderess play the guqin, they would serve her unconditionally. Ruan Faxben looked at the beautiful woman. "You're saying that you're the only one in the world who can play Godderess's score? That's not something you should care about. You just need to answer me. Do you accept the deal or not?" "We need to think about it." "Can we?" "Yes. As a sign of my sincerity, I'll leave the score here. If you think someone can play it, I have nothing to say." The woman was very calm, maybe even a little overconfident. Or perhaps she really felt that there was no one else in this world who could perform Godderess's music score except for her. After the woman left, Xin Li finally spoke. "Mr. Faxben, are we going to work with this woman?" Ruan Faxben waved the score in his hand. "If no one else in the world can play this score, we have no choice. Of course, if the score doesn't belong to that woman, why should we share the golden apple with her?" After moving, Chun Zhao and his family had a rare moment of leisure. Compared to Mingyue Villa, Mirror Lake Manor was much quieter. After all, Mingyue Villa was by the sea, so the sea breeze was always strong. When they were older, they would often make little Larissa sit on the ground. Little Larissa had basically reached the stage where she could run and jump. Because of the lack of constraints, little Larissa was a replica of little Jerlin. Of course, it wasn't that Chun Zhao didn't restrict little Larissa. It was just that it wasn't that harsh. As long as she didn't cross his bottom line, Chun Zhao wouldn't care. Some habits needed to be cultivated from a young age. Because of the geothermal heat, the temperature of Mirror Lake was maintained at around 12 degrees Celsius all year round. In the summer, the water temperature was considered cool. In the winter, the water temperature of 12 degrees Celsius would not make people feel very cold. December had just arrived, and the weather had already turned cold. Now, only little Jerlin would go into the water without any scruples. Jerlin didn't seem to be afraid of the cold. It had become her habit to go into the water every day. The condition of Mirror Lake was already considered very gentle to her. Little Larissa, who was her sister, was obviously weaker in water than Larissa. Little Larissa only knew how to swim, but she wasn't as good at it as Jerlin. Portia also preferred Mirror Lake Manor. The sunlight in Mingwe Villa was too strong, so she had to use sunscreen every day. It was completely different from Mirror Lake. Mirror Lake gave her the feeling that she was a quiet lady, elegant and noble, like a glass of sweet red wine. Mirror Lake Manor was also more convenient than Mingwe Villa. Portia also had fewer things to worry about. She even had time to go into the water. However, it was a bit inappropriate to go into the water at this time. Even though the water temperature was higher than the air temperature, water carried away heat more easily. This made it difficult for Portia to stay in the water for more than 10 minutes. She thought that since Jerlin could wave in the water, she could do it too. In the end, Jerlin slapped her hard in the face. Just then, a car arrived at the gate. "Master, there's a guest outside." According to the license plate scan, the owner is the head of Seagate Yacht Company's Los Angeles office, Mr. Ofer Lurby. He has business dealings with you. The roadblock was returned to the ground, and Ofer Lurby entered the manor successfully. He met all sorts of rich people and been to many manors, but he was still mesmerized by Mirror Lake Manor. It was different from the proud and breathtaking feeling of Mingwe Villa, which was hanging on a cliff. The Mirror Lake Manor was more pleasing to the eye, and it was more relaxing. "Hello, Mr. Ofer." Portia was responsible for bringing Ofer Lurby into the manor. "It's so beautiful here," Ofer Lurby said sincerely. "Rich people can live wherever they want," Portia said, twitching her lips. "I heard that when Mr. Chen bought this land, it was less than $1 million. Later, he expanded the land area and invested less than $10 million. Now, if a buyer comes here and sees this manor, he'll offer at least $300 million, Ofer Lurby said. Portia was tempted, but she knew very well that she didn't have the money to make such an investment. Even though she knew that it was a profitable business, she couldn't afford it all. This was why the poor were getting poorer and the rich were getting richer. The rich had the right to choose what and how to earn money. The poor could only choose how to spend and what level of spending was within their range. Even if the poor knew how to earn money, they didn't have the capital. Actually, Portia had caused all of this herself. The salary Chen Zhao paid her was definitely a high one. She'd squandered her own money. Chen Zhao wouldn't pity her. Portia didn't deserve pity. Ofer Lurby was brought before Chen Zhao. "Hello, Mr. Ofer." "Hello, Mr. Chun." Ofer Lurby held a large stack of documents. "Mr. Chun, our head office sincerely invites you again. We hope that you can visit us." "I'll check the time," Chen Zhao said. "I don't have much time." Portia rolled her eyes. "Not much time?" Chen Zhao had been idling at home these few days. "That was not enough time?" "Oh, where's your company in Italy?" "Rome. I suddenly want to go to Rome," Chen Zhao said. Ofer Lurby was overjoyed. "That's great. I'll inform the head office now and have them make arrangements immediately." Chapter 2051. Portia looked at Chen Zhao in confusion. This was strange. Why would Chen Zhao accept this invitation? After all, Chen Zhao didn't even bother to respond to LA's invitation. Why would he agree to go to Rome? Portia knew Chen Zhao well. In her eyes, Chen Zhao always treated the time spent on the plane as a waste of his life. It would take at least 18 hours to fly from LA to Rome. If some flights needed to be transferred, then the duration was likely to exceed 36 hours. She really couldn't understand. Oliver Lurby had already invited Chen Zhao last time. Chen Zhao had rejected without hesitation. But this time, he actually accepted the invitation. She also couldn't understand why Chen Zhao had changed his attitude. In the evening, when Fei Lai returned, Chen Zhao went to discuss with her. "Fei Lai, how about we go to Rome for vacation this year?" "Rome? Why?" "Xin Li's in Rome. We can also go see our new yacht. The headquarters of Seagate Yacht is in Rome. Their shipyard is also nearby. They're inviting us to visit their headquarters in Rome." "Okay, has the time been decided?" "Not yet, but I think we should hurry. After all, we don't know how long Xin Li will stay in Rome." After confirming with Fei Lai, Chen Zhao called Portia. "Portia, help me charter a plane. It's flying from LA to Rome on December 5th. "Boss, is that really necessary? My whole family is planning to go." Chen Zhao said. Portia didn't understand how rich people thought. What did this have to do with the whole family going? Even if the whole family went, they could just buy a dozen first-class tickets. Why charter a plane? $1 or $2 million per flight. Got it, boss. Portia already knew not to question Chen Zhao to his face. That would make him look stupid, and it would make him look poor. Chen Zhao then called Ruan Fassbender. Farspin, how's the progress of your search in Rome? President, Rome is 9 hours faster than LA. Do you know? Waking up early is good for your body. But it's only 4:30 in the morning. The early bird catches the worm. The hotels in Rome don't serve breakfast until after 9:30. Then let's go to the streets. The earliest shops open at 10. Then let's go for a morning jog. If I go to the streets now, I'll either be targeted by the gangs or the police. To be honest, as a Chinese who had gone abroad from China, Chen Zhao found it hard to understand running into trouble on the street in the middle of the night. It was the same even in Los Angeles, but Chen Zhao was still not used to it. He still believed that it was safe to go out at night. In fact, it was because the security in China was too good. The situation that Chinese people often encountered when they went out at night was that they would either be robbed by gangs or be interrogated by the police. Moreover, some of the habits in Europe and America were that basically all the shops would be closed from 5 to 6 p.m. Only the nightclubs would be open. Most convenience stores rarely stayed open because it was too risky to operate at night. Unlike China, almost every street had a 24-hour convenience store. Then go back to sleep. I'll call you when you wake up. President, I'll tell you directly. Ruan Fascia was no longer sleepy. His sweet dream had been disrupted by Chen Zhao. He was considering whether he should switch to silent mode when he slept in the future. However, he also considered whether Chen Zhao would lose control if he couldn't get through. In the end, Ruan gave up on the idea. According to West, Chen Zhao had secretly gone to Africa a week ago and killed the big boss they were going to fight alone. In everyone's eyes, Chen Zhao was a president who worried too much. Ruan Fascia perked up and explained the situation. We're looking to see if anyone can play the score, but we visited many musicians in Rome. No one can play it. We've expanded the search range and offered a high reward. Then send me the score. I know some music too. I'll try, Chen Zhao said. Oh, we're planning to go to Rome for a vacation. We'll go on the 5th and play for a few days. Before that, don't leave Rome. If there are any changes to your plans, slow down. Okay, Ruan Fascia said obediently. It was useless even if he argued. If he refused, Chen Zhao would throw him into the Aegean Sea. After hanging up the phone, Ruan Fascia sent him a music score. Is this a score? Chen Zhao looked at the score in surprise. Ancient Greek? No, the symbols on it were very cryptic. Even musicians would have a hard time figuring them out, let alone a rookie like Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao thought for a moment. The first person he thought of was Zhang Tianyi. Lao Zhang. Chen Zhao called Lao Zhang. Speak. Do you know music? You mean pop music? Of course I do. Isn't the most popular song, Let's Learn to Meow Together. Meow, meow, meow together. Chen Zhao thought about how Zhang Tianyi's old face would look when he sang the lyrics of this song. Chen Zhao felt like he'd touched on something taboo. He couldn't help but shudder. It's not pop music. Don't force yourself to be dramatic. Do you think I'd call you for something so boring? Last time, you asked me if Wang He was very popular in China. I know him, so ask casually. It's just a simple question. So you're planning to get to know people in the music industry? No, I got a music score related to ancient Greek mythology. I wanted to ask you if you know the score of Godrus. Oh, you're talking about that? That's not really Godrus' score. It's a score of chaos. What do you mean? In ancient Greece, there's a theory of chaos. It's used to calculate the power of chaos. This Godrus score is actually a simulation of the structure of chaos. Is there a problem with my comprehension, or is there a problem with your expression? You don't understand, right? It's normal. Didn't we have Pangu's creation of the world in Huaxia? Before the creation of the world, there was chaos, and this music is used to deduce and simulate the power and structure of chaos. Chapter 2052. What's the use of that? Isn't there quantum mechanics in modern science? We can't understand its use, but it's said to be the cornerstone of future technology. The chaos theory in the spiritual world is equivalent to quantum mechanics in science. I don't think it's useful, but it's said to be useful. Tell me directly, can you play this thing? No. First, you have to have a special bloodline. Second, you have to understand chaos theory. What bloodline? I don't know. No one in China understands it. There's more research on chaos theory in the European spiritual world. It seemed that Chen Zhao couldn't find any useful clues from Zhang Tianyi. The next day, West called Chen Zhao to the headquarters. President, the psionic team has started recruiting a lot of new members. Many of them are quite famous. Chen Zhao frowned. Are they targeting us? West shook his head. Probably not. They don't have the time or energy to target us now. Does that mean our plan succeeded? It's possible. West nodded. Information about the Bermuda supernatural incident is circulating within a certain range. Nobody on our side leaked it. They won't know about the true threat of Bermuda. Chen Zhao bit his finger and sank into silence. According to their plan, it was very likely that they had succeeded. But the problem was that he'd arranged for Yanghua to hide in the psionic team. If the psionic team was planning to conquer Bermuda, Yanghua would probably be deeply involved. But if Yanghua knew the truth, he might tell the psionic team and Vistana the truth. At that time, their plan would fall short of success. Yanghua was a spy, a mold Chen Zhao had placed in the psionic team. But he'd been forced to join the psionic team. He'd been unwilling to accept it. As a result, all the information he'd given Chen Zhao was trash. It was completely worthless. Even though they hadn't had much contact, Chen Zhao could still feel the intense resentment. Most importantly, Yanghua still had a sense of chivalry in his heart. Don't ever think of someone like him doing anything that goes against the rules of morality. If Chen Zhao didn't tell him the situation and only asked him to give up his identity as a spy and informant, he might feel guilty. It was highly likely that he would feel guilty towards the psionic team, which was why he would at least do his best to complete this mission. If she told him the truth, he would definitely tell Vistana everything. Chen Zhao felt that forcing Yanghua to join the psionic ability team as a spy was completely unnecessary. Chen Zhao thought for a long time, but couldn't think of a perfect solution. Yanghua must not die. Otherwise, he, Zhang Tianyi, and Mount Longhu would be at each other's throats. Zhang Tianyi might be smiling at him every day, but the old bastard was just as protective as Chen Zhao. For the sake of his junior, he would do anything. When the old man went crazy, even Chen Zhao had to retreat. Chen Zhao might be stronger than Zhang Tianyi, but Zhang Tianyi was much stronger than Chen Zhao. But Zhang Tianyi had too many trump cards. The most orthodox Taoist heritage, Dragon Tiger Mountain's reputation, influence, and heritage were all important factors that Chen Zhao couldn't ignore. If Chen Zhao really went to war with Dragon Tiger Mountain one day, Dragon Tiger Mountain wouldn't let him off easily. In that case, it would definitely be a lose-lose situation. Injuring Yanghua, making him unable to participate in the psionic team's mission? Chen Zhao thought to himself. He definitely couldn't do it. However, if an ordinary person were to go up against Yanghua, they would not necessarily be able to gain an advantage. Even the members of the association might not be able to win against Yanghua. It would be fine if they won, but if they lost, they would all be in Yanghua's hands. That would be embarrassing. Of course, if it was a few powerful people like Gaia, Norma, Halles, or Jalanash, the chances of winning were very high. But their magical features were too obvious and could be easily recognized. If it was a second-level member of the association, there was no guarantee. After all, Yanghua was an elite of Dragon Tiger Mountain. He had mastered many mysterious Taoist spells. Last time, when Chen Zhao fought Yi Fengmiao, even though he had absolute power, he was still tricked by Yi Fengmiao's spells. If one didn't have enough strength and didn't have enough exquisite spells to resist, it was very likely that one would fall into the trap. Should he find someone powerful and willing to take private jobs? Chen Zhao thought. West, do you know any powerful spiritualists who are willing to take private jobs? West looked at Chen Zhao in surprise. Clearly, Chen Zhao was plotting something again. But what kind of person was he not willing to fight or someone he couldn't deal with? Even if it wasn't convenient for him to fight, couldn't people from the association do it? Why would he need someone else? After all, many people in the association were willing to be Chun Zhao's fighters. After all, Chun Zhao's notoriety and benevolence were obvious to everyone in the association. Even West felt that Chun Zhao was a qualified president. If Chun Zhao really needed it, he wouldn't mind being a fighter. What kind of power? Weston asked who Chun Zhao wanted to fight. If Chun Zhao was willing to tell him, then he would. If not, he wouldn't pry into Chun Zhao's privacy. First, they have to be strong enough, at least at the average level of our association, Chun Zhao said. Secondly, I hope they don't know who I am and that I hired them. I have a choice, West said. Europe's Holy Flame sect, a supernatural organization known as gangsters and villains. I know the person in charge of the Norwegian branch, Magri Modrich. He's a greedy and daring spiritualist. He's not bad, and most importantly, he has a group of powerful subordinates. Their area of activity is relatively poor in Eastern Europe, so they don't have much money. That's why their prices aren't high. Chun Zhao narrowed his eyes and thought for a while. Can you contact them? President, I can't. If I do, they might link it to you no matter if the operation succeeds or not. So, the best situation is for you to contact them anonymously. I understand. Give me Magri Modrich's contact information. President, Magri Modrich is a very greedy and cautious person. If you don't show up, they'll definitely ask you to pay a deposit first. After that, they'll react differently based on your reaction. For example, if you don't want to show up, they won't attack. If you show up, they'll grab hold of your weakness and use it to threaten you. So, you better be careful. Don't fall into their trap. Chapter 2053. Chun Zhao looked at the information West had given him. The Holy Fire Sect was really not good. It was a supernatural organization that gathered gangsters, criminal organizations, mercenaries, and killers. There was no good person in the entire group. Everyone had a few lives on their hands. These people could even cross the bottom line that even Chun Zhao disliked without hesitation. Chun Zhao rubbed his nose. It seemed that he had to teach them an unforgettable lesson. Hello, are you Mr. Magri Modrich? A cold voice came from the other side. Who are you? How do you know this number? I heard that you accept all kinds of jobs. Is that right? Who the hell are you? Modric asked again. I have a job. After it's done, I'll give you $2 million. This time, Modric didn't ask anymore. Instead, he went straight to the point. What job? He might not come across a $2 million deal even once in a few years. He didn't care who was calling him anymore. He only cared when he could get the money. A disciple of the Celestial Masters sect from Dragon Tiger Mountain, Chun Zhao said. Break his arms and legs. Celestial Masters sect from Dragon Tiger Mountain? Magri Modrich immediately frowned. The price you offered is too low. You know that he's a disciple of Dragon Tiger Mountain Sage Sect, but you're only offering $2 million US. Do you know how much risk I'll have to take on this job? That's your problem. I'll pay you. If you can't do it, I'll find someone else. I believe that there are always people in the world who need money. They'll be happy to work for me. Okay, how about we meet? No need, Chun Zhao said coldly. Just do as I say. After it's done, I'll give you the money. It's that simple. But how do I know that you won't go back on your word? If you do, where can I find you? I haven't even seen you before. I don't even know where you are. So either we meet or you pay me the deposit. Deposit? Sure. Give me your account number. Chun Zhao directly transferred $200,000 to Modric's bank account. The money is in your account, Chun Zhao said. Sir, you seem to be mistaken. It's not 200,000. It's 30%. It should be 600,000. Sure. Hearing Chun Zhao's straightforward answer, Modrich was even more certain that Chun Zhao was in a hurry. The money is in, Chun Zhao said. All right, within a year, I will arrange for your task to be completed. 1 year? I want you to finish it in a week. Chun Zhao's tone was as calm as before. If it's within a week, I'll need at least 60% of the full amount. After all, my men aren't very willing to deal with high-risk targets. If I don't give them the money first, it'll be hard for them to be motivated. Sure, Chun Zhao answered again. Magri Modric had never seen such an easy target to deceive. It was as if the thought of the possibility that he wouldn't do anything after receiving the money never crossed his mind. Modric raised his requests again and again. Instead, he accepted and fulfilled Modric's request time and time again. The money is in. Will you give me an answer in a week? Chen Zhao asked. I just discussed it with my men. They feel that 2 million isn't worth the risk. Modric changed his mind again. Mr. Modric, I want to know if you can give me an answer in a week. Yes or no? I said that my men want to raise the price. They'll only be willing to do it if you're willing to pay more. So you want to go back on your word? Sir, take a guess. If I follow the transfer records and trace your bank account to Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Master Sect, what kind of benefits will I get? Magri Modric said proudly. What do you want? 10 million to keep your mouth shut. If you're 1 cent less, you'll be hunted down by Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Master Sect. Maybe that Celestial Master will deal with you personally. Huh? Modric laughed loudly. Give me back my money, Chen Zhao said calmly. I'll pretend that nothing happened. Chen Zhao nodded. Huh? Do you think that's possible? No one has ever dared to cheat my money. Never. Looks like your past partners are more timid, Magri Modric said disapprovingly. He didn't think that Chen Zhao could do anything to him. In his eyes, Chen Zhao was just a coward who hid behind the phone and trembled like a mouse. Modric's tone was still the same. I'll give you 3 days. If you can't gather 10 million in 3 days, you'll be hunted down by Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Master's Sect. With that, Magri hung up the phone. Guardian, why are you so happy? Lev walked in from outside. Seeing Modric, his face was full of joy. Someone who's worried about us. Let's all go out and play today. Earn a lot of money. Ha! I'll pay for all the expenses today. Magri Modric treated his subordinates well. At least he wanted to share the money he earned with everyone. Not long after, Magri Modric led a few dozen people to the local entertainment venue. Norway was one of the 5 Nordic countries and one of the most advanced countries in the world. It also had the best welfare. However, it bordered Eastern Europe, so the consumption level was slightly lower. The few dozen people squandered but only spent tens of thousands of dollars. Magri Modric leaned back in the car seat and breathed in the fresh air to sober himself up a little. Suddenly, the car in front exploded violently without warning. The car was sent flying by the explosion. In the end, it fell to the ground. The 4 Holy Fire Sect members sitting inside seemed to be alive. After all, they were spiritualists. Their resistance and other abilities were higher than normal people's. They climbed out of the overturned car with difficulty, but before they could escape the danger zone, suddenly, a figure fell from the sky and landed on the car. Boom! The car exploded a second time, and the 4 people were instantly thrown out by the impact. One could see the figure faintly discernible in the flames. Even under the illumination of the flames, the figure was still wrapped in black and red lines. Someone's attacking us. Get out, get out. Prepare for battle. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 2054. Magri Modric looked at the newcomer in bewilderment. The person slowly walked out of the exploded scrap metal. Magri Modric shouted in a low voice. He raised his palms high and a small sun gathered above his head. Go to hell. Magri Modric suddenly blasted the little sun towards the black and red figure. But a black and red screen suddenly appeared behind the figure, enveloping the small sun instantly. Then the small sun disappeared without a sound. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They had never seen such a strange magic. Sir, who are you? I'm here to collect a debt, Chen Zhao said. Debt? You just cheated me of my money. Have you forgotten about it so quickly? Modric's pupils constricted. It's you. But then he thought about it. It was better now. The person had appeared before him. As long as he caught the person, he could extort more money from him. My children, do you want to get rich? Catch him, and we'll have more money. Whoever catches him first will be rewarded $100,000. The believers were all excited. $100,000 wasn't a small amount. Everyone charged at Chen Zhao without any hesitation. One of the believers shot a strong electric current at Chen Zhao. The strong current hit Chen Zhao's body, but didn't even cause a ripple. Chen Zhao raised his arm and released an electric current at the believer. In the shape of an electric snake, The current pierced through several believers, blocking the way, and reached the believer. Of course, the believer was pierced too. The electric snake continued moving forward in a straight line. Instantly, the entire street was pierced by the electric current. A horrifying burn mark was left on the ground. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. If they'd all stood in a straight line, they'd all die. If they'd all stood in a straight line, they'd all die. Look at those unlucky believers. Their bodies were burnt by the high-voltage current. Roar! A believer roared and charged at Chen Zhao. He raised his huge fist and smashed it at Chen Zhao's head. This believer was clearly a strength-type spiritualist. The power of his fists could reach 2 tons, which was extraordinary. But when his fist landed on Chen Zhao's body, Chen Zhao didn't even shake a little. Chen Zhao turned his head slightly and glanced at the believer. Suddenly, he grabbed him and threw him into the sky. Everyone could tell from the sound that it was coming from afar and that it came from near. The cultist was being tossed up and away from the ground. In the blink of an eye, the disciple had already disappeared into the night sky. But his voice still echoed in the night sky. Don't get close to him. Don't gather together. Scatter, scatter. Magri Modric shouted nervously. Everyone listened to Magri Modric's command and spread out. Attack him with everything you've got. Don't give him a chance to fight back. Everyone started casting long-range spells with all their might. Even the strengthening spiritualists were smashing things from afar. No one wanted to be tossed into the sky. Long-range spells fell on him like raindrops. But the spells couldn't even touch Chen Zhao. Everything within a foot of Chen Zhao disappeared without exception. Some objects that were tossed over could get close. It was just that the power of those things was very pitiful. Just then, something fell heavily to the ground. This thing had already become a bloody mess, and many parts of its body were even frozen. Everyone could tell that it was the cultist who'd been tossed into the sky. No one dared to imagine how much power was needed to make the cultist rise and fall for a few minutes. Magri Modric's expression grew even more serious. He realized that the person before him was terrifyingly powerful. All spells were useless against him. Any attack was like tickling him. Chen Zhao looked at everyone, and the dark lava on his body suddenly burst out. The dark magma turned into black blades. Instantly, the street turned into a hell of flesh and blood. Dozens of people were instantly minced. Magri Modric vomited. He'd never seen such a terrifying person or such a horrifying massacre. Dozens of people. That was dozens of people. No one could defeat this guy, right? Chen Zhao looked at Magri Modric calmly. Chen Zhao didn't kill everyone. He still left Magri Modric and a dozen Holy Fire sect disciples. No one has ever dared to cheat my money. Magri Modric's body trembled as he looked at the terrifying guy in front of him in horror. I'll pay you back. I'll pay you back. Chen Zhao slowly walked up to Modric. I have money. $1 million or even 10 million is just a number to me. But I hate being fooled. I hate being cheated. Modric nodded. I'll complete your mission. I promise within a week. No, 3 days. Within 3 days, I'll complete your mission. 3 days? Chen Zhao stopped. He was still a few meters away from Magri Modric. But Magri Modric already felt the aura of death. This terrifying existence that had appeared out of nowhere. Magri Modric had never seen such a terrifying person. It was as if everyone was like an ant before him. He'd killed dozens of people instantly without mercy. I'll give you 3 days. If you can't give me an answer in 3 days, I'll find you and turn you into space trash, Chen Zhao said calmly. You can try to escape or hide. I've already memorized your scent and your aura. No matter where you go, I'll find you and kill you. Chen Zhao said calmly. You can try to escape or hide. I've already memorized your scent and aura. No, I don't dare. I won't dare anymore. Magri Modric was about to cry. He thought that Chen Zhao was an idiot. He'd raised the price several times, and Chen Zhao had accepted it without hesitation. He'd never seen such a straightforward person. Only now did he realize that Chen Zhao didn't care if he would go back on his word. Maybe Chen Zhao was expecting him to go back on his word. The person I want to deal with is in Los Angeles. I want you to break his arms and legs, but don't kill him. Do you understand? Chapter 2055. Modric wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Chen Zhao did not ask him for the money back. However, Modric knew very well that even if they completed the mission, they would not get the rest of the money. Even if they completed the mission, they would not get the rest of the money. Originally, if he hadn't played tricks, perhaps there wouldn't have been such a mess. Now, he had offended a terrifying butcher for no reason. Dozens of people were killed in the blink of an eye. Magri Modric didn't think he could beat this man. That night, Chen Zhao left Oslo. In the next 2 days, Chen Zhao kept waiting for Modric's arrival. As expected, the next afternoon, Modric brought his men to L.A. If Magri Modric didn't arrive in L.A. today, Chen Zhao couldn't help but teach him a lesson again, because he would go to Rome the next day. West dialed Magri Modric's number. He asked directly, "Modric, are you in L.A.?" As a matter of fact, West already knew why Magri Modric was here, but he still had to pretend that he did not know. "Mr. West, how did you know?" "Of course. L.A. is my territory. How do you think I know?" "Mr. West, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm not planning to cause trouble in L.A. That's for the best. If I find out that you've caused trouble for me here, I'll make it very troublesome for you too." "Mr. West, I'm just doing some missions." "What missions?" "Beating up a person." "Are you sure you're not joking?" "Yes, I'm very sure." "A regular person?" "No, someone from the supernatural world." "Fine, I'll pretend that I don't know. As long as you and your men don't attack regular people, I won't ask." "Thank you for your understanding, Mr. West." Magri Modric didn't look too good after hanging up the phone. He knew that West and his men were in North America, but he did not expect them to be in L.A. They had also given him a warning. West and his men were also very troublesome for Modric. Magri Modric didn't want to complicate matters, so he was very humble and put himself in a very low position, although he managed to deal with West. But Modric was still in a rather bad mood. No matter who it was, they would not be in a good mood if they had to lower themselves to everyone they met. Modric wasn't particularly afraid of West. It was mainly because West was a local tyrant. If West wanted to give him some trouble, he would be powerless to stop him. The next day, Chen Zhao boarded a plane to Rome with his family. It was the first time for most of the children in the family to fly. Everyone was in a good mood. However, after 2 hours on the plane, the children couldn't sit still anymore. Little Larissa, in particular, wanted to get off the plane. Little Larissa didn't stop until Phalai tied her face up. Then he fell asleep in Phalai's arms. The flight was estimated to be 19 hours long. It was going to be a long journey. "Little E, this is your first time taking charge of the family business. You'd better not fail." Liu Jiao looked at Zhang Yi seriously. "What's wrong?" Zhang Yi said, unconcerned. "At most, I'll be criticized by the board of directors. You better stop being like that. Your father strongly supports you becoming the general manager. If you're impeached by the board of directors, your father's authority will be shaken too. So troublesome. I told you long ago that I don't want to enter the company." Zhang Yi grabbed her hair. "Let go of your hair. You just tidied it this morning. You have to meet the client." Liu Jiao pulled Zhang Yi's hand away. "Let go of your hair. It's just been fixed this morning. You have to meet the client." Liu Jiao pulled Zhang Yi's hand away. "Let's go to the hotel first. Our appointment is at night anyway." "Io." Zhang Yi was knocked into. She turned around and saw a little girl. "Ouch." Zhang Yi was bumped into. Turning around, she saw a little girl. Although she had bumped into Zhang Yi, she was sitting on the ground. Just then, an older girl ran over. "Mara, are you okay?" Didi helped Mara up. "Sorry, miss." "Mara, say sorry to your sister." "Sorry." Mara lowered her head shyly. "It's okay. Is your name Mara?" Zhang Yi looked at the two girls. Just then, the rest of the group came out. Zhang Yi looked at Chun Zhao in surprise. She saw Chun Zhao carrying a mixed-race girl. There were a group of children and 2 adult women beside him. Zhang Yi remembered that one of them was Chun Zhao's assistant. The other was even prettier. She was tall and had an even smaller girl in her arms. Seeing Chun Zhao come out from the passage, Mara immediately ran to his side. Chun Zhao reached out and picked Mara up with his other hand. Mara hid her face in Chen Zhao's chest. Chen Zhao glanced at Zhang Yi and Li Yojia. He walked over. Ms. Zhang, Ms. Li, hello. What a coincidence to see you here. Yeah, what a coincidence. Are these kids all yours? Yeah. Chen Zhao nodded. Li Yojia glanced at Fei Lai behind Chen Zhao. Is that lady your wife? Yeah, Chen Zhao answered. Are you here to play too? We're not as free as you. We're not here to play. We're here for business. I see. Then we won't hold you up anymore. We're leaving. Just then, Ofer Lorby and a group of foreigners were waiting for Chen Zhao at the arrival gate. Mr. Chen, hello. I'm Patrick Poach, the CEO of Seagate Yacht Company. Hello. Chen Zhao nodded. Mr. Chen, hello. Ofer Lorby was the second to greet him. Then, a few executives from Seagate also came to greet him. We've already arranged the hotel. Thank you. They didn't dare to be slow. After all, Chen Zhao was their biggest customer since the company was established. After all, Chen Zhao had already bought 2 yachts and an order for a super yacht. Moreover, according to Ofer Lorby's report, Chen Zhao would probably buy or order more yachts. Therefore, Chen Zhao was an important customer for Seagate. They didn't want to lose such an important customer because of negligence. Therefore, they had already arranged everything to ensure that Chen Zhao would have a good time in the next few days. From the travel and accommodation of Chen Zhao's family, Seagate tried to make everything perfect. 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 2056. Hey, Xin Li, we're in Rome now. Uncle, you're in Rome? It's not just me. Your brothers and sisters are here too. We're here for a vacation. Huh? Why didn't you tell me? If I told you in advance, you might find an excuse to run away. So we might as well tell you when we get to Rome. Xin Li knew that Chen Zhao was telling the truth. She always wanted to use her abilities to prove something. She didn't even tell Chen Zhao about what she'd done last time. Of course, she thought that she'd hidden it well. She didn't know that Chen Zhao already knew. Then let's go now. Xin Li knew that she couldn't avoid it. A while later, Xin Li, Ruan Faxbin, Risa, and more arrived at the hotel. Sister Xin Li hugged. Seeing Xin Li, little Larissa immediately hugged Xin Li's calf excitedly. Xin Li carried little Larissa and walked to Chen Zhao. The other brothers and sisters greeted Xin Li too. Uncle, President, Xin Li, looks like you've grown a lot. Are you talking about my height? Hearing that, Xin Li was very happy. You've grown a bit too. Clearly, they weren't on the same channel. Xin Li told her brothers and sisters about her adventures. Of course, it was an exaggeration, but Chen Zhao wouldn't expose her. Chen Zhao chatted with Ruan Faxbin on the balcony. Did you guys get a result from your discussion with that woman? We found out that there's more than 1 copy of her music score. In fact, it's been around since a long time ago, but she's the only one who can really play it. At least, that's what she said, Ruan Faxbin said. Ruan said, but even so, I don't think she deserves a share of the golden apple. She's paid almost nothing. It's different. If she has a unique ability, and you guys need it, then she has the right to ask for what she wants. That's understandable. I know that too, but I just don't feel fair, Ruan Faxbin said unhappily. Ruan Faxi said unwillingly, and that woman gives me a very good feeling. I always feel that she wants more than that. You mean she has other motives? I don't know. In any case, I refuse to cooperate with her from the bottom of my heart. Chen Zhao looked at Ruan Faxbin. Ruan Faxi had always been a rational person. At least, Chen Zhao had never seen Ruan Faxi act emotionally. It didn't seem like his style at all. Spiritualists trusted their instincts a lot. Spiritualists were people who believed in fate, and some spiritualist perception would suddenly have a flash of inspiration. Therefore, it was normal for them to suddenly sense something or danger. If you really think that you shouldn't work with that woman, then don't work with her. But now we have no choice. If we can't find a second person who knows how to play goddess music, then we have to work with her. Chen Zhao couldn't do anything about it. Xin Li definitely didn't want him to interfere. Xin Li was too headstrong, so Chen Zhao could only let her be. Did you find out who our target is? Yes. That person has joined a supernatural organization called the Psionic Team. He's not from Dragon Tiger Mountains, Celestial Masters sect? Yes, but this supernatural organization doesn't conflict with being a disciple of Dragon Tiger Mountains, Celestial Masters sect. Dragon Tiger Mountains, Celestial Masters sect doesn't restrict their disciples from working outside. After thinking for a while, Modrich asked, "Do you know how strong this person is?" Modrich was afraid that this person had monster-level strength. Just like that person. If that was the case, he might as well just kill them. He wasn't afraid of Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Masters sect now, but he was afraid of this person's strength. If it was someone that the person couldn't deal with and sent them to die, it would be too unlucky. He's quite strong, but not very outstanding. Not outstanding? Then what level is he? Modrich didn't dare to be careless at all. Not outstanding compared to his own people, or not outstanding compared to that person. Compared to our people, our target strength is only average. China's spiritualists are more proficient in magic attacks. Their magic spells are strange and unpredictable, making it hard for people to guard against them. Furthermore, they have many ways to hide their strength and aura. The information you've gathered might not be accurate. After thinking for a while, Modrich said, "How about this? Send a few people to test the waters first." "Guardian, won't that alert the enemy?" "I don't care. If he's strong, we don't need to attack, regardless of whether he's alert or not. If he's weak, we don't need to care either." It was like an army. Even in peacetime, no armed forces dared to mess around in a military camp. No matter how lax they were, an army was still an army. Sometimes, the danger did not lie in whether one let down their guard, but in one's own strength. Magri Modric just wanted to finish this mission quickly and get out of this matter. Maybe Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Master's sect was strong, or maybe the Celestial Master was strong. But not everyone in Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Master's sect was strong. Not everyone in Dragon Tiger Mountain's Celestial Master's sect was strong, unless the Celestial Master personally hunted them down. Moreover, they were hiding in Europe. Even the Heavenly Master might not be able to find them. Even the Celestial Master might not be able to find them. That man had left a deep impression on them. Moreover, unlike the Celestial Master, that person could be unscrupulous. Unlike the Celestial Master, that person could be unscrupulous. That was why Modrich would rather face the Celestial Master than that person. "Oh, don't attack in the downtown area," Modrich said. After all, this was LA, not Norway. Modrich still had to consider West's and the others' attitudes. West and the others had always resisted and rejected him. Plus, they were indeed very strong. Modrich didn't want to clash with West and the others. "Lord Protector, I heard an interesting piece of news." "What news?" "West and the others organization in LA is the supernatural organization. They're enemies with the psionic team." Chapter 2057. Huh? Enemies? Surprise flashed across Magri's face. The psionic team has the power to fight against West's group? No, the psionic ability team is a very young organization. It's only been established for about half a year. They're all funded by the government. Rather than saying they're enemies, it's more like they're competitors. But the main purpose of the psionic ability team is to restrict and replace the supernatural organization. So far, they haven't really fought. Is there a way to make them start a war? It'll save us a lot of trouble. That's not difficult. Young, we discovered that someone has been following and investigating you in the past 2 days, Vistana said. I felt it too. Young's expression was serious. Ever since he joined the psionic team, he'd become unusually serious. Perhaps because of his special identity, he was very reserved and couldn't let go of anything. This was the first time in his life that he wanted to give up and escape from his duty. This was a duty he'd accepted for the bet. But the principle of accepting a loss was universal in both the East and the West. Even his grandmaster, Zhang Tianyi, asked him to keep his promise. However, the more he did this, the more depressed he felt. Most people in the psionic team weren't bad people. Plus, he made a few friends here. This made him feel like he was betraying his friends. This made him feel even more painful and depressed. In the psionic team, He also learned the reason for the conflict between the psionic team and the supernatural organization. There was no right or wrong between the two. Simply put, it was a fight for power, benefits, and orthodoxy. Yangwu didn't want to break this balance. He knew that Chun Zhao was very powerful. In the psionic team, no one could match him, even though the psionic team had expanded several times. "Do you know who's following and investigating me?" Yangwu asked. "The Holy Flame sect from Europe. They're on the international supernatural blacklist. They're a gang in the supernatural world. Do you know them?" "No, I've never met them before," Yangwu said. "Maybe I've met them by accident, but I don't have any impression. Maybe someone else found them," Vistana said. "For example, the supernatural organization. They don't dare to fight us head-on, so they're using this method to weaken us." "It shouldn't be possible." Yangwu shook his head, because he felt that the supernatural organization was the most unlikely. After all, they knew each other best. "The supernatural organization has been maintaining this peace with us," Yangwu guessed. "They won't break this balance." He was more willing to believe that there were other reasons. But he didn't know about Chun Zhao's vile style. So, he still didn't know Chun Zhao well enough. Chun Zhao was much worse than he had imagined. "This mission is very important to our psionic team. Many higher-ups are paying attention to it, so I don't want anything to happen to you. You're our trump card," Vistana said. Yangwu was very important. He had a trump card given to him by Zhang Tianyi. This was the source of Vistana's confidence in challenging Bermuda. And this confidence came from his worship and trust in Zhang Tianyi. Ever since Vistana came into contact with the supernatural world, the Zhang Tianyi she knew was a supreme existence. It would not be an exaggeration to say that he was a god of the supernatural world. His words were the decree of others, and his will was the conviction of others. In Zhang Tianyi's life, he had experienced two major events. One was in China 20 years ago, and the other was in South America. And these two major events were personally presided over by him. There were many small stories in these two major events. There were even hundreds of editions of books about these two major events. Some were official, and some were the personal feelings of independent spiritualists. Back then, Vistana had tried her best to rope Yangwu in because of his powerful backer. Plus, Yangwu was already very outstanding. He was proficient in many spells and was very helpful to the team members. At the same time, he was also very powerful. Most importantly, Yangwu didn't care about fame and fortune. He would never argue with the team members and was easy to get along with. Gradually, Vistana trusted Yangwu more and more. In a few small missions, Yangwu had displayed outstanding strength. Vistana always felt that if Yangwu could continue to grow, one day, this person who came from the same land as Chun Zhao would become his greatest threat. Moreover, Yangwu had a more orthodox legacy and a stronger backer than Chun Zhao. However, Vistana didn't expect this at all. The more she trusted Yangwu, the more pain he felt. Every time, Vistana's trust in Yangwu increased. Yangwu had the urge to tell the truth. Humans had feelings. Yangwu didn't want to continue betraying his friends and comrades. This was different from the education he had received and the worldview his surroundings had instilled in him. To find out their goal and who sent them, Yangwu said calmly, "The easiest way is for me to be the bait. No, that's too risky. I have the ability to protect myself. Not everyone can hurt me," Yangwu said. "It's still too risky. Let the other team members go." "You can't go." "No, this is my problem. I can solve myself." "How about this? I'll have someone stay with you. No matter what happens, you'll have someone to help you," Vistana said. "That's good. Who do you want to team up with?" Vistana asked. "Tank," Yangwu said casually. Vistana was speechless. Tank had the worst personality in the team. However, he was a good match for Yangwu. Yangwu was easy to get along with, while Tank was impulsive and easily angered. Yet, the two of them could talk well. If Tank went berserk during a battle, Yangwu could always suppress Tank's movement instantly and then use spells to calm him down. After working together a few times, Tank liked working with Yangwu more and more. If she hadn't heard that Yangwu was already married, Vistana would have thought that Yangwu and Tank had developed beyond friendship. But thinking about this possibility, Vistana shuddered. If the celestial master Zhang Tianyi found out that she had turned his disciple gay, would he come looking for trouble and anger? Chapter 2058. Mr. Luan, what do you think? Let's meet, Wes said. Sure, you decide the time and place. Let's do it now. The location is, after the two agreed on a meeting place, Ruan hung up the phone. Ruan Faxbin, Xian Li, Lisa, and Kalon were all present. Not long after, the woman also arrived. This was the second time they met, and this woman had changed her clothes again. She was still as elegant and charming as ever. I told you to wait. The woman's face was brimming with joy. Reisa curled her lips. For a girl of her age, she hated this kind of woman the most, who was rich and open-minded. Anyway, Lisa was full of disdain and jealousy towards her. Miss, we still don't know your name. Ruan Faxabin said, Is it convenient to tell you your name? You can call me Goddess. Goddess? What's your family name? Name. Hee. The same name as the main character in the song? Goddess is not a rare surname. At least not as rare as an animal. All right, Miss Goddess. Let's get down to business, Ruan Faxburn said. Go ahead. Although Goddess did not display any disrespect or impoliteness in her behavior. However, he still gave off an air of superiority. Ms. Goddess, apart from being able to play that piece of music, what else can you do for us? Ruan Faxburn asked directly. What he disliked was that Goddess had too little use and too little functionality. I have a powerful army that can solve any problem, Goddess said. We don't intend to start a war, Ruan Faxben said. Also, in terms of combat power, we don't lack it. No. What you guys think is the conventional combat power, but I'm talking about the high-end combat power. Furthermore, what we're going to face might be a battle that is even more exaggerated than a modern war. Do not underestimate your upcoming journey. Miss Goddess, you seem to understand the upcoming journey very well. Do you think you're the first team to find the golden apple? So, before us, there were already many people looking for it? Many. What was the result? You've all failed. You can't imagine what you'll be facing. What's next? I can't say it. I can only say it when I face it. Why? Because it involves unconventional things. Well, no matter what, I still don't think your help is worth it. I'm the most important one. If you think I'm not worthy of a golden apple, then there's nothing for us to talk about. Ruan Faxi was still calm. Miss Goddess, do you only want the golden apple? I want the golden apple. As for the other things, that's my problem. It has nothing to do with you. If I find a coin on the way to the Holy Garden, do I have to share it with you? That's not it. I just want to confirm if you have any other intentions. Goddess furrowed her brows. Could it be that she had accidentally exposed something and allowed the other party to notice her intentions? What are you trying to say? If we're going to cooperate, we should at least be honest with each other, right? I've already said what I can. What else do you want me to say? But Miss Goddess, you're still hiding many things from us, such as your true identity. What identity? Goddess. There are currently 2 surnames. One is Countess Goddess from the 15th century. Currently, there are less than 200 people who are qualified to use Goddess as a surname, and they're all in the same family. Their family has a habit of branding a cross on their shoulders. The Goddess family is a devout Catholic. The other is from Greece, the illegitimate daughter of Poseidon, a demigod. However, this is only a name, not a surname. Because she's an illegitimate daughter, she only has a name, not a surname. What are you trying to say? Since the 17th century, there's a woman who calls herself Goddess. She claims to hold the key to Mount Olympus, and her activities almost cover the entire European continent until today. The music scores of Goddess also appeared since the 17th century. Are you trying to say that I'm that Goddess? That I've been active since the 17th century until today? Are you denying it? Ruan Faxben looked at Goddess. Don't you think your speculation is ridiculous? This is an old photo I accidentally found when I was investigating some information recently. Ruan Faxben took out a very old photo. It was a black and white photo, and from the perspective of modern people, it looked extremely terrible. It was a photo of a woman and a man. Coincidentally, the woman in the photo looked almost identical to Goddess, except for the clothes and hairstyle. Miss Goddess, Can you explain the woman in the photo? Or you can say that it's your elder who happens to look like you. That makes sense. Goddess took a deep breath and said, That's right. The person in the photo is me. So, you've already admitted that you're the legendary, illegitimate daughter of Poseidon. A demigod? Demigod? Goddess sneered. I'm not a demigod. Apart from having a longer lifespan than ordinary people, I'm not stronger than humans. Everyone was moved. How many years had passed since the Hellenistic era? 2,000 years? Or 3,000 years? Did such an ancient person really exist in this world? However, if you want to live longer, you can drink my blood. I can provide you with more than 100 years of life. Thank you. No need. Ruan Faxpin rejected Goddard's suggestion without hesitation. Very few people can resist this temptation. Don't you want to live longer? When I gain lifespan, it also means the beginning of slavery. From the moment I drink your blood until the end of my life, I will be under your control. Is that right? You seem to know me very well. Goddard looked at Ruan Faxpin in surprise. It's nothing. In the past 100 years, powerful spiritualists have been disappearing. The powerful army you mentioned should be referring to them, right? 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 2059. Xian Li, Moore, and Colin stared at Ruan in surprise. Lisa, on the other hand, looked like she already knew. Goddard smiled and didn't say anything else. What's your final answer? You know where to go to see, right? Ruan asked. Of course. Since you already know that the legendary goddess is me, there's no reason for me not to know. All right. Happy working with you. Ruan didn't make any other requests this time. Happy working with you. Smiling, Goddess shook hand with Ruan. At the same time, she glanced at the kids sitting beside them. To be honest, she was very curious about this group. Ruan looked like a babysitter. Of course, the weaker Ruan and his team were, the better it was for her. But she also believed that the team wasn't as weak as they looked. After all, they had something. If one didn't have enough strength, it was absolutely impossible to obtain that thing. I won't disturb you anymore. Goodbye. Wait, when do we leave? Ruan asked. We have to wait until the high tide the day after tomorrow. Rome is where we're going. Rome is one of the places. Goddess stood up. Okay, I'll let you know when it's time to go. With that, Goddess turned to leave. Is that woman really a demigod? Moore asked curiously. Should we try to kill a god? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for us. In our association, we only have this opportunity and the ability to do so. It's not easy for us to meet such a weak demigod, Reisa said with a hint of excitement. Let's try to kill a god. That's a rare opportunity for us. In the Supernatural Association, Lisa was the one with the weakest morals. Remember, when she'd met Qin Zhao, she'd been a thief and liar. Plus, with her high IQ, she was also quite extreme in her actions. The strange fruits I placed around were all touched, Moore said. This means that when the woman met us, she had subordinates around. Even if we want to kill a god, it won't be that easy. What are you afraid of? Lisa said arrogantly. The president is in Rome anyway. The president won't satisfy your crazy ideas. Moore rolled his eyes. That woman doesn't look like a good person, and she seems to have an ulterior motive. Killing her now will save us a lot of trouble, Raisha said. If we kill her now, who will show us the way? You? Then, we'll kill her after she's done giving us directions. In the past 100 years, at least 200 famous spiritualists in Europe have disappeared for no reason. Most of them are related to her. When the day of the operation comes, she will definitely bring all her people. I don't think we can fight against her spiritualist army with just a few of us. F.A. Ben, can demigod blood control people? Moore asked curiously. Not every demigod has this talent. Demigods inherit the bloodline of gods, but they also have human characteristics. The bloodline of gods doesn't necessarily give demigods great power. Her ability to control people should come from her bloodline and her extremely long life, Ruan F.A. Ben said. Ruan Faxi said, actually, the so-called gods are just powerful humans. Our president is almost at that level. He should also have some kind of bloodline. Is Uncle a god? I can only say that he may have reached the power of a god. As for whether he has reached the level of a god or not, I can't answer you. If our food and water are accidentally poisoned by that woman, isn't it very dangerous? We can become her slaves in minutes. That's too dangerous. Although this is her innate talent, it is also a contract. Since it is a contract, there are two choices, whether to accept or not. If she can really use her blood to control others, she can directly rule the world. Is there a need to go through so much trouble? That's good. That scared me. It's too dangerous to work with a woman like that. You're the dangerous one. You want to kill her the second time we meet, Ruan Fa Shiben said. As if you don't want to, Lisa said with a cold smile. Ruan Fa Shiben could fool the others, but he couldn't fool her. Lisa knew what Ruan Fa Shiben was thinking. That's right, since that woman can play the music, knows where the starting point is, and has a strong army, I really don't understand why she would want to work with us. In her eyes, we are a group that can be easily bullied. Xin Li looked at Ruan Faxaben in confusion, hoping that he would be able to answer her question. What's so strange about that? She must be interested in something in our hands. It should be something important. Without it, we can't find the sacred garden. What is it? Do we have something like that? Think about it. How many things have we obtained along the way? What are they? Think about it, and we can basically determine what she wants from us. The gemstone scepter used by ancient priests, the ancient spirit book, the flying wings, everyone counted the items in their hands. These were all things that they had obtained along the way. Some were obtained through the guidance of clues. Some of the items were unexpected gains. For example, the wings of flight was created by Icarus in ancient Greek mythology. Equipped with the wings, one would have the ability to fly, but it could only fly at night. Once the sun shone on it, it would be ignited and fall to the ground. Moreover, the flying wings required a lot of magic power. Even if they worked together to inject magic power into the wings, it would be difficult for one person to fly for 20 minutes. Therefore, it was a very useless magic tool. Of course, if it was emergency, it was not completely useless. After thinking about it, the group finally fixed their eyes on the gemstone scepter. The scepter was obviously a product of ancient Greek mythology. Moreover, the scepter was made of unknown materials and gems, which they had also obtained along the way. However, the scepter didn't seem to have any practical use. It also couldn't increase the power of magic like ordinary magic staffs. It looked like a beautiful piece of trash or a work of art. But now, they felt that the scepter might be the key to this adventure. Jiuqian Shenwang. Chapter 2060. After Goddess left, a figure appeared behind her. Master, we should just snatch the scepter. Expressionless, Goddess said coldly, don't fall out with them yet. That team isn't simple. An old fox with a few kids. I don't see what's so special about them. 20 years ago, I sent a team of 35 people to Andark's underground palace to search for this scepter. None of them were weaker than you, but in the end, they were completely wiped out and disappeared forever from Andark's underground palace. But that unremarkable team actually obtained the jeweled scepter. Do you think they're simple? Maybe it's luck, or maybe they know some tricks in Andark's underground palace. Goddess didn't really think much of the team, but she still felt that there was something about the team that she couldn't see through. So, from a cautious perspective, Goddess still hoped to wait until it was absolutely safe before falling out with them. The Seagate Yacht Company's shipyard was built on the banks of the Tuwire River. The Tuwire River was also known as the Tiber River. It was only 400 kilometers long. The river wasn't wide either. At its widest, it was only 50 meters. The narrowest parts were even a dozen meters. But the shipyard was close to the sea. Today, Chun Zhao brought his family to visit the shipyard. It was different from the dirty and messy factory he'd imagined. The shipyard was a semi-closed factory, but it was very clean. Part of the area was also a dust-free factory. In modern industry, dust-free was the most basic requirement. Because of the precision requirements of modern industry, even the dust in the air would cause accuracy deviation. So, in order to achieve precision, they had to be dust-free. Also, the temperature difference was very high. In such a high-precision workshop, The temperature inside was maintained at a fixed value all year round. The difference wouldn't be more than 1 degrees. Even Chen Zhao's family had to wear masks and simple rubber protective clothing when they entered the workshop. Because Europe and America blocked high-precision equipment, some equipment here was rarely seen in China. Ofer Lerby was the family's guide. He kept explaining the production departments they saw along the way. Through the glass window, Chen Zhao's family watched the workers work inside. Mr. Chen, the main outline of your yacht has been completed. Would you like to take a look at the main body of your yacht? All right, let's go take a look. At the moment, Chen Zhao was quite interested. But when he saw the main outline of the yacht, he was greatly disappointed. The main body of the yacht was still very rough. It was a huge metal frame that was more than 150 meters long. It was much larger than the Hydra. But other than that, there were no other highlights. Mr. Chen, don't be fooled by its rough structure. That's because it hasn't been sheathed yet. The main structure is made of No. 25 carbon steel alloy, which can add a certain amount of weight. The sheet structure is made of titanium alloy. The advantage of titanium alloy is its high strength and lightness, which is incomparable to steel. Excluding the engine, the weight of the entire yacht doesn't exceed 550 tons. It can be said to be the lightest yacht of its type. Chen Zhao didn't know what that meant, but it sounded powerful. If all the equipment and engines are installed, how much weight will the hull reach? Not more than 1,000 tons, Ofer Lerby said. Modern technology is advancing by leaps and bounds. From power to operating system to construction materials, they're all undergoing revolutionary changes. Therefore, the yacht will only become lighter, faster, and more convenient. It's still in the initial stage of construction. The basic construction work will be completed by March next year. After that, we'll have to wait for the engine to be delivered. After that, we'll have to wait for the installation and commissioning phase. After that, we'll proceed to the second phase of construction. The second phase of construction will be completed by August next year. Finally, we'll have to decorate the interior. There's also a half-month trial period. Of course, these are all estimates. It might be faster or slower. Oh, I'm not in a hurry. Chen Zhao shrugged. Oh, I want to name this yacht Didi. Of course. Who's Didi? This kid, Chen Zhao said, pointing at Didi. Beautiful lady. Do you want to design your own logo? Can I? Didi looked at Ofer Lerby shyly. Of course. For the yacht company, this was only a small request. The yacht company would definitely try their best to satisfy customers like Chen Zhao. Moreover, after the customer provided a logo, they would also go through deep refinement. No matter how ugly the logo was, it would fit most people's taste after refinement. The tour of the yacht's construction process took around 2 hours. Then, Seagate Yacht Company sent people to send Chen Zhao's family back to the hotel. Of course, they also sent Ofer Lerby and a small team to be the family's guide and security. In the next few days, this team would basically be responsible for Chen Zhao's family's food, accommodation, and transportation. Mr. Chen, we've already arranged your itinerary for tomorrow. Please take a look and see if there's anything that needs to be changed or adjusted. St. Peter's Cathedral. Chen Zhao was somewhat surprised. Chen Zhao had some understanding of St. Peter's Cathedral. It was the holy land of the JD Church. It was also known as the Vatican or St. Peter's Cathedral. It was also the resting place of the previous popes. It was designed by Michelangelo, who was as famous as Da Vinci. Other than the football stadium, the most famous place in the city of Rome was the city within the city. It was the Vatican in China. The most famous place in the Vatican was St. Peter's Cathedral. It had witnessed the darkest era of the JD Church, as well as its most glorious era. Now, it had become one of the 3 major religions in the world. Its influence even surpassed the other 2. Mr. Chen, are you satisfied with this arrangement? It's not bad, Chen Zhao said honestly. Let's go and take a look. I also want to see the famous St. Peter's Cathedral. Chen Zhao was truly a heretic. Of course, Chen Zhao didn't have any special hatred or strange feelings toward the JD Church. But it was still the JD Church's holy place. Was it really suitable for him to go? 9 Heavens Divine Emperor. Chapter 2061. The next day, Chun Zhao's family came to St. Peter's Cathedral. Chun Zhao could feel that this place was filled with a holy aura. Everyone who came here to visit had a devout attitude. Perhaps Chun Zhao wasn't devout. He just observed every corner of the place from the perspective of a tourist. Unknowingly, Chun Zhao seemed to be separated from Fei Lai and the children. Chun Zhao didn't know which corner he'd turn to. There was a courtyard before him. It was sunny and green. Chun Zhao walked into the courtyard and saw an old man sitting on a bench. He wore a white robe and a small round hat on his head. The old man kept his eyes closed, as if enjoying the bright sunlight. Chun Zhao also felt that the sunlight here was especially warm. He sat on an empty bench beside the old man. After a while, the old man opened his eyes. When he saw Chun Zhao, he was a bit surprised. "Hello," Chun Zhao greeted. "Hello, you're from China?" "Yes." "Dragon Tiger Mountain, Celestial Masters Sect?" the old man asked. Chun Zhao shook his head. "No, that's true. Your aura leans towards darkness. It's clearly different from the Taoism of Dragon Tiger Mountain, Celestial Masters Sect. You're not going to judge me as a heretic, are you?" The old man grinned, revealing a mouthful of rotten teeth. "What era do you think this is? It's not the Middle Ages. Even the Christian church can't judge people casually. Then I don't have to worry." Chun Zhao thought for a moment and asked, "Why do you think I'm from Dragon Tiger Mountain Celestial Master Sect?" "You have the aura of Mount Longhu's Celestial Master Sect. 100 years ago, that guy was the only one to silently barge into my spirit formation without any guidance. I thought he had some trick, but now you're the same as him, silently barging into my spirit formation. That's why I thought you were from Mount Longhu's Celestial Master Sect." Hearing the old man's words, Chun Zhao smiled. "I've cultivated a few Taoism spells from Dragon Tiger Mountain Celestial Master Sect, but I don't have this trick. I don't know how I got here. I didn't even feel the barrier." "I see." The old man looked at Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao also looked at the old man. They were both sizing each other up. "You're the Pope?" "I'm not anymore." The old man shook his head. "So you're the former Pope?" "Even further. After retirement, you've been sunbathing here every day?" "Those youngsters aren't really willing to be ordered around by an old man from the olden era," the old man said helplessly. "Then I'll help you get rid of them all, and then let you regain power. You give me the position of Archbishop. How about that?" "Huh, kid, I'm starting to like you. I used to think that old people were stubborn, but after meeting Zhang Tianyi and then you, I realized that you seem to be very close to the times. You're not as stubborn as I thought. When you make mistakes when you're young, you'll inevitably start to reflect on your past mistakes when you're old. Tell me, what mistakes did you make when you were young?" "I entered the Vatican at the age of 6 and became an archbishop's page boy. At the age of 19, I had already become a probationary priest and began to practice holy light magic. At 22, I became an official priest. In those 20 years, I saw my religion as the only orthodox religion, and all other religions were heretics. I did many cruel things, even anti-human things. I strangled a 6-year-old girl to death with my own hands. Do you know the look in that girl's eyes at the time? After that, I became a heretic in the eyes of others, even my fellow believers. At that time, I began to reflect on myself, and I began to understand myself. I pursued justice and light, but I personally tainted my own faith. Fortunately, I wasn't born at that time. Fortunately, you didn't meet me at that time. Otherwise, I would have beaten you up so badly that even your mother wouldn't have recognized you. What a pity. I wish I could have known you earlier. That way, you would have been able to stop me." The old man's tone had been very calm until he talked about the girl. His voice finally wavered. "No matter how much I sacrifice in the future, no matter how much I make up for it, I can't atone for my past crimes. If you die, I'll go to hell to visit you." The old man was still as calm as usual. "Hell? I'm not afraid. To me, that's true freedom. Perhaps to you, this is the true hell." What an annoying kid. The old man twitched his lips. "You said when you were young. How old are you now?" "Much older than you think," the old man said. "Older than Zhang Tianyi?" "Older than him. Compared to 23rd generation Blood Mary? Older than her too. That's indeed older." Chen Zhao chatted with the old man for a while. The old man looked cheerful, but there was always a bit of remorse and hatred in his words. To Chen Zhao, the old man should have died long ago. He should have been judged long ago. However, because of his status, no one could judge him. How do I get out? Chen Zhao asked. If I win, I can get out. Chen Zhao glanced at the old man. You're the previous pope, but you definitely can't beat me. Don't look for trouble. The old man's face twitched. You really don't know how to respect the old and love the young. You're asking for trouble, okay? I'm already respecting the old. Forget it, the old man said unhappily. Turn right and you'll be out. Chen Zhao followed the old man's directions. After turning a corner, he saw Fei Lai and the children looking at a mural. When he turned back, the courtyard was gone. Chen Zhao shook his head and walked over to Fei Lai. This was the headquarters of the most influential religion in the world. It wasn't surprising that there were some secret things here. Chapter 2062. Chen, where did you go just now? You disappeared in the blink of an eye. It's too big, Chen Zhao said. I got lost. Mr. Chen, it's indeed easy to get lost here. Also, this place isn't completely open. Some places are off limits to tourists, so we should be careful and not wander around randomly. I know. Chen Zhao nodded. It wasn't just because of its long history that this place could become a sanctuary. It was also because of the precious art treasures here. Someone had once done an evaluation of St. Peter's Cathedral, putting aside the historical value of the main structure of St. Peter's Cathedral. Just the sculptures, murals, statues, and many other artworks were worth more than $50 billion. Chen Zhao couldn't appreciate these artworks, but he could appreciate their value. Unfortunately, none of them belonged to him. If Chen Zhao didn't have so much money and had his current power, he probably wouldn't be able to resist killing people and robbing them. This place was a huge treasure trove, and it was right in front of everyone. Chen Zhao didn't plan on wandering around randomly. Chen Zhao could feel an indistinct aura in this place. They must have sensed his aura too. Chen Zhao didn't plan on starting a war with the top religion in the world for now. The consequences of starting a war with the Vatican might not be much better than starting a war with the American government. It might be even worse. It was better for Chen Zhao to keep his distance. He'd seen it today, even though he didn't gain anything. But at least he could brag to others in the future. He'd been to St. Peter's Cathedral before. Instead of calling it a cathedral, it was more like a majestic and extravagant palace. At the same time, it was the most representative work of the European Renaissance. Michelangelo had poured all his artistic cells into this sanctuary. Of course, it wasn't completely out of his passion for art. Most of the time, Michelangelo couldn't control himself. But this still couldn't erase the fact that this was a great human treasure trove. After leaving St. Peter's Cathedral, Chen Zhao saw St. Peter's Square that could hold 300,000 people. He could even feel the aura of believers in the square. With a spiritualist like him standing here, the aura was especially obvious. It was as if he was among hundreds of thousands of believers. He could feel the sincerity from the believers. This was religion. Religion brought hope to believers and led people to do good, while believers gave back their faith to religion. This was the religion and doctrine recognized by modern people. The teachings of evil cults brought destruction and death. There was a fundamental difference. This was also the reason why most people could not tolerate the existence of evil cults. Chen Zhao didn't like standing here. To put it simply, Chen Zhao was a heretic. Chen Zhao didn't dislike the church, but he wouldn't believe it either. Chen Zhao's family basically didn't have any complete believers. There were many tourists in the square. Chen Zhao turned around and glanced at St. Peter's Cathedral one last time. He could feel a few gazes on the high wall in the other direction. Chen Zhao followed the gaze and saw a few cultivators in priest robes standing on the high wall. They were staring at Chen Zhao. There was no hostility or other emotion. As if he was examining Chen Zhao returned his gaze. Mr. Chen, what do you think of this place? Huiyong, Chen Zhao said calmly. But it doesn't fit in with the culture and beliefs I've been exposed to since I was young. I respect it, but it doesn't affect me too much. Chun Zhao tried to speak in a tone that wouldn't make people feel disgusted. He was just stating a fact. Chun Zhao was more inclined to Taoism. After all, it was a local religion in China. Moreover, Chun Zhao had more contact with Taoism. Chinese Buddhism had been passed down for thousands of years and had become a local religion. However, Chun Zhao hadn't come into contact with Buddhists, so he couldn't guess from his own perspective. Of course, Chun Zhao's feelings about Buddhism were similar to the church. Buddhism's teachings were also to lead people to do good, but there were some rules that Chun Zhao couldn't follow. To Chun Zhao, not eating meat and not getting close to women was too inhumane. This was also Chun Zhao's biggest prejudice against Buddhism. He didn't have any other problems. As for the fact that some temples in China took in a bunch of fake monks to collect money, Chun Zhao didn't comment. With Chun Zhao's shallow understanding of Buddhism, there were actually some temples that upheld their own beliefs and teachings. Preaching was their responsibility. These monks would build bridges and pave the way. They would also accumulate virtue and do good deeds. In times of natural disasters, they would donate money and contribute as much as they could. So, no matter which religion it was, there were two sides to it. No one could use a single incident or example to slander or reject a religion. You could choose not to believe in it, but don't insult it. This was because religion was sacred to people who believed in it. The car drove slowly. Chun Zhao leaned against the window. He quietly looked at the street outside the window. The scenery was full of medieval style. However, there were also some things that Chun Zhao didn't like. Buying luxury goods in Italy was very troublesome. Fei Lai bought some luxury goods that cost hundreds of dollars. They couldn't be bought directly and taken away. The shop had to file taxes first, and then the tax bureau would give an approval. After a day or two, the shop would call again and ask if they still wanted to buy the goods. Chun Zhao had never seen such a way of doing business. Italian luxury goods were popular all over the world, but they weren't very popular in China. This was mostly because of their business model. This greatly dampened the customers' enthusiasm. Most of the time, buying luxury goods depended on the impulse of the moment. After that, they would lose interest in the goods. At noon, Oliver Lerby arranged a high-end restaurant for Chun Zhao's family. Here, Chun Zhao met his old acquaintances again, Zhang Yi and Li Yojia. The two also saw Chun Zhao, but they didn't approach him. They just nodded from afar as a greeting. What a pity. Such an excellent man already has a wife and a kid, Li Yojia said regretfully. How is he excellent? I think he's just average looking. He's just a bit rich. Conversation, taste, wealth, knowledge, and experience are all standards to evaluate a man. In China, he's already an excellent man. What more do you want? But he already has a family. That alone wipes out all his good points. Zhang Yi pouted. She was still brooding about the time she tried to hook up with Chun Zhao, but was rejected. Chapter 2063. They seem to be talking about you, Fei Lai said, a little jealous. I'm so outstanding. Isn't it normal for other women to talk about me? Chun Zhao said proudly, which was rare. Fei Lai rolled her eyes. In fact, Chun Zhao didn't just know that Zhang Yi and Li Yojia were talking about him. He even knew what they were talking about. After lunch, Chun Zhao, Fei Lai, and Portia brought the kids back to the hotel. A few of the kids were sleepy because Chun Zhao had forced them to develop the afternoon nap habit. Rome was a typical European city. It had a slow pace of life. This was completely different from China, where most people were still struggling to survive. Europeans, on the other hand, had reached a certain level of materialism, so they were more willing to enjoy life. Thus, most of the shops here opened after 10 o'clock. If they opened too early, there wouldn't be any business. Before 10 o'clock, there wasn't a single person on the wide street. Chun Zhao didn't like this kind of city. It had no vitality at all. Chun Zhao preferred the new cities in China or America. Everyone was full of energy. Moreover, after nightfall, it was like the entire city was under curfew. The entire city quieted down again. After dinner, the kids were playing in the room. Fei Lai and Portia were chatting about fashion. They planned to go to a fashion show tomorrow. Chun Zhao didn't even have to worry about the invitation. Ofra Labil took the initiative to help them. Just then, there was a knock on the door. Diddla immediately stood up and ran to open the door. "Hello, who are you looking for?" Diddla looked politely at a man in a suit outside the door. The man poked his head into the room. "Hello, where's your family? What's wrong?" Chen Zhao walked behind Diddla and looked at the man outside the door. Chen Zhao saw a strange pattern on the skin of the man's wrist under his sleeve. "We're doing an anti-terrorist drill in this area, so you might need to change hotels," the man said. The man said, "Of course, we've already arranged the hotel for you to change to. It's just a block away. Can we not change hotels? We have a lot of family members. It'll be very troublesome if we change hotels. If you have any secret requests, we can promise you that we won't go out no matter what we hear." "Sir, I'm sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. Our drill is a live ammunition drill. For safety reasons, please cooperate with us." Chen Zhao thought about it and nodded helplessly. "Fine, let's pack." "Sir, you don't need to pack your things. As long as we're done with the show, you can come back here again. Maybe tomorrow, so you just need to bring some daily necessities." "I see. Okay." Chen Zhao nodded. Chen Zhao went in to inform Fei Lai and Portia. Chen Zhao, Fei Lai, and Portia gathered all the children and followed the man downstairs. When he arrived at the lobby, he saw that there were many people there. They were all hotel guests. He saw Zhang Yi and Li Yojia. "Hi, Miss Zhang, Miss Li, we meet again. You're staying in this hotel too? Are you following us?" When Zhang Yi faced Chen Zhao, it was as if she had completely forgotten about their past. "Are you following us?" When Zhang Yi faced Chen Zhao, she seemed to have forgotten about their past. She was calm and even joked with Chen Zhao. "That's strange. Does the Italian anti-terrorist drill require a priest to pray?" Zhang Yi asked in surprise. "That's strange. Do they need priests to pray for the Italian drill?" Zhang Yi asked, surprised. These priests were all high-level cultivators, and all of them had extraordinary magical abilities. They were communicating with the armed soldiers around them. It seemed that this wasn't a drill. Instead, a supernatural event had happened. Moreover, the presence of these high-level cultivators meant that the situation was serious. But for now, Chen Zhao didn't notice any supernatural activities nearby. "Sir, your car is ready," a hotel staff said. "Okay, thank you." Because Chen Zhao's family stayed in the best suite, the service and treatment were obviously different. Chen Zhao's family was the first to leave. Because Chen Zhao's family had a lot of people, the hotel arranged for a big bus. It wasn't very luxurious, but it was only 2 streets. It was a 10-minute journey. Chen Zhao wouldn't ask for more. Less than 3 minutes after the bus left, there was a sudden tremor in front. The bus lost control on the road and crashed into a street lamp. The bus driver was scared out of his wits, but Chen Zhao's family was very calm. Portia immediately went up and yelled, "Do you know how to drive? Do you know how many kids are on the bus?" Portia was scared too. Otherwise, she wouldn't be so agitated. "Okay, Portia, stop. It's not because of him." Chen Zhao stood up and stopped Portia from venting. Just then, the buildings along the street exploded violently. "Fuck, is that a terrorist attack?" The driver was still in shock. After seeing the explosion, he was even more scared. Just then, a dozen fully armed soldiers appeared along the street. They were shooting wildly at the exploding buildings. But another explosion occurred. The soldiers were instantly engulfed in flames. "No, we can't stay here." The driver was scared out of his wits and tried to start the bus. But the bus seemed to have malfunctioned due to the crash. It couldn't start no matter what. The bus driver became even more anxious. He didn't care about Chen Zhao's family at all. He opened the door and fled. "Boss, what should we do?" Portia looked at Chen Zhao. Perhaps because of Chen Zhao's past achievements, Portia trusted him a lot. With Chen Zhao here, she felt much more at ease. "It's okay," Chen Zhao said. "You guys stay in the bus. I'll go take a look." "Chen, don't go too far," Fei Lai reminded. "The kids are in the bus." "Yes, I know." Chen Zhao nodded. Just then, the street lamps along the way started going out one by one. Something seemed to be charging at them. Chen Zhao stood in front of the bus and saw what was coming. That should be a type of evil spirit, an evil spirit that was filled with evil thoughts. It looked like someone had instilled evil thoughts that didn't belong to him into the spirit. Like a balloon being blown, the evil spirit was swallowed by the evil thoughts. It completely lost its sense of self and became a terrifying monster. 9 Heaven's Divine Emperor. Chapter 2064. Portia saw that the row of street lamps in front of her that had been extinguished suddenly lit up one by one. The street became bright again. At the same time, she saw Chun Zhao standing at the front of the car. It was as if nothing had happened. Just then, more than 10 people came over. The leader was the person who'd talked to them and told them to stay in another hotel for the night. Behind him were more than 10 fully armed soldiers. The person walked up to Chun Zhao. "Sir, did something happen just now?" "No," Chun Zhao replied calmly, shaking his head. The man frowned. He'd clearly seen the impure soul coming over. How could it not be? The impure soul had killed many people. All living things along the way had become its targets. Our driver ran away because of the explosion. Can you find another one to take us to the hotel? The man's expression was strange as he kept staring at Chun Zhao. Just then, there was another violent explosion in the distance. It seemed like the situation hadn't calmed down yet. The man ordered his subordinates, "Go there immediately." After arranging the battle, the man said to Chun Zhao, "I'll take you." The man sat in the driver's seat. He clearly knew which road was safe. He avoided all the dangerous streets. As he drove, he asked, "Did you not encounter anything? What do you want us to encounter? Like an attack? Or something you don't understand?" "No." The man couldn't help but look back at Chun Zhao and his family. The children were still playing in the car. They didn't seem frightened at all. "Hey, you better look ahead when you drive. My family and I are in the car. Which department are you from? Can I complain to your superior?" The man ignored Chun Zhao's irritation. He didn't speak until they reached the hotel entrance. "This is my name card. If anything happens, you can call the number on it. Rosalick." Chun Zhao glanced at the card. There was only his name and no department or position. There was also a row of phone numbers. "What are you talking about?" "You'll know when the time comes," Rosalick said indifferently. "Goodbye." After Rosalick left, Fei Lai walked over to Chun Zhao. "What happened just now?" Chun Zhao glanced at Portia, who was carrying the child, before saying, "I caught a strange-looking evil spirit." It wasn't a pleasant night for Rosalick. Although the night was alluring, the entire city was filled with darkness, making it difficult for people to fall asleep. Only in the morning did the fighting subside. Just then, someone patted Rosalick on the shoulder. "Rosalick, the bishop has ordered all captains to gather in the conference room after the battle." The person who greeted him was his comrade, the captain of another team. Rosalick put away the 2 modified pistols. "How troublesome. I've been busy all night, and you don't even let me rest in the morning." When Rosalick arrived at the conference room, he found that all the captains of the other teams were already there. What was going on? Was it because of the commotion last night? At this moment, a fat old man came in from outside. "Rosalick, you're the last one again. Take your seat. Everyone's time is wasted because of you every time. Bishop, you came even later than me. I was taking care of you, so I purposely delayed my arrival. Otherwise, I hate it when you only arrive in the middle of my speech. Then shorten your speech, old asterisk shoal. You're so disrespectful to me. Looks like you don't want this month's salary anymore." "Bishop, I was wrong." Rosalick immediately admitted defeat. "No matter who you go against, don't go against your wallet." "Okay, take your seat. The topic of today's meeting is that we're going to have a big battle soon." "Battle? How big?" "Perhaps if we don't handle it well, half of the country will fall," said the fat old bishop. The conference room was in an uproar. "Bishop, this isn't a joke. Are you serious? Do you see how I'm not serious? Can't you see that I'm serious? This is a big event. How can the Holy Army solve it alone?" "I know. That's why I've already notified the United Nations Paranormal Organization and sent an invitation to the entire world." The fat old bishop said, "Your Eminence, shouldn't you first report to His Holiness the Pope and then let him give the order? He'll definitely agree anyway. Why waste time? You're overstepping your authority. It's fine. When I become the Pope, I'll pardon myself." Everyone was speechless at the fat old bishop's nonsense. But they've already gotten used to this seemingly frivolous fat old bishop. although he looks like he doesn't know his place as the leader of the Holy Army. The fat old bishop has extraordinary management skills. Lord Bishop, what happened? It's nothing. Someone accidentally opened the path to the ghastly water. The fat old bishop said. The team leaders who were in an uproar just a moment ago all quieted down, staring at the fat old bishop with wide eyes. Bishop, are you serious? I said, I'm serious. I'm not joking. Do I have a face that says I'm joking? The fat old bishop shouted. The ghastly water, according to the Holy Army's records, has been opened a total of 8 times. Each time, it resulted in the Holy Army being almost completely wiped out. It's a terrifying world. Even the dead don't want to enter it. Inside, there are countless impure souls. If they don't do anything, those impure souls will come out like a tidal wave. At that time, it'll bring chaos to the entire country, even the entire European continent. But why would the ghastly water's path open for no reason? Could it be that the higher-ups suddenly had a brain cramp and wanted to borrow the power of the ghastly water? One of the team leaders questioned. Brat, be careful with what you say. This archbishop is one of the higher-ups, the fat old bishop said in a very dissatisfied manner. It was indeed opened by someone, but the matter is still under investigation. We don't know the specifics of the situation. Those impure souls, last night, came out from the dark water of the dark forest. Right now, the Holy Church is still trying to keep the seal on the path, but it won't be for too long. 9 Heavens, Heavenly Emperor. Chapter 2065. After the meeting, Rosalick followed the fat old bishop out of the room. Bishop, please lend me some money. Borrow money? For what? Insurance, Rosalick said. The passage to Erie Water has been opened. Our sacred army will definitely be the first to be affected. The death rate is as high as 80%. I can't miss this opportunity. It's not a loss if I buy it. Fuck off. I don't have money. I have to buy it myself. Just then, Rosalick's phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Hello, who is it? I'm a Chinese guy from last night. You gave me your card. What's up? Remember I told you about the driver who escaped? He's dead. A few police officers are interrogating me now. They think I'm a big suspect, so I need you to come and explain to me. That's not my problem. Also, don't call me if you don't have anything important, Rosalick said, displeased. You gave me your card. Didn't you say I'd call you if I needed something? That's not what I meant. Rosalick was even more displeased. I found out that you've defaulted on your credit card. Chun Zhao suddenly changed the topic. If you don't come and explain for me, your credit card might be frozen. You might also become a person who broke your promise. Asshole, Rosalick cursed. You work in the banking industry? How can you freeze my credit card? I'm not, but in a way, I'm harder to deal with. I'm rich. Rosalick was furious. He'd never seen such an arrogant person, but he was helpless. Even if he was a sacred army and a spiritualist, sometimes he had to lower his head to reality. In the end, Rosalick went to the police station. Before going, he'd checked the driver's body. It was indeed not man-made. It was the work of the unclean souls they'd fought last night. Therefore, in a sense, it was also their fault that caused ordinary people to be implicated. Rosalick brought Chun Zhao out of the station. However, he was very unhappy with Chun Zhao. Mr. Rosalick, what department do you work for? Chun Zhao asked curiously. That's none of your business. Rosalick was extremely arrogant. Do you want a cup of coffee? Are you treating? In the end, Rosalick decided to skip breakfast. Chun Zhao realized that Rosalick and Portia were very similar. They were the kind of moonlight clan that relied on credit cards for half of their lives. All kinds of credit card overdrafts, and in the end, debt piled up. Don't eat too much. This restaurant is really expensive. Chun Zhao's face twitched. You said that you were rich. Tell me about what happened last night. I told you it was a drill. I'm not a fool. Whether you believe it or not, it's the truth, Rosalick said disapprovingly. All right, I'm full. Goodbye. Chun Zhao watched Rosalick leave. Just then his phone rang. Hey, old John, what's up? Do you know the first major event of the century is about to happen? Oh, there is some curiosity and doubt in your reply. Let me explain it to you. No, I'm not curious or interested. You don't have to explain to me. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Don't be like that, Zhang Tianyi hurriedly said. This is a major event in the spiritual world. I'm really not interested. Interest often meant trouble. Curiosity about something like this meant big trouble. Chen Zhao did not want to get into big trouble. Therefore, he even lost interest in continuing the conversation with Zhang Tianyi. Don't you want to leave a glorious memory for yourself when you're old? Zhang Tianyi's tone was bewitching. Not interested. I've been through many battles. I have many memories that are worthy of admiration. If the event gets out of control, do you think you can stay out of it? Even if the sky falls, there will always be tall people to hold it up. It doesn't matter if I'm there or not. In the town of Duca, northwest of Rome. Wait, I said I don't want to hear it. Duca is controlled by the church's sacred army. I said, I'm not interested. Do me a favor. Zhang Tianyi's tone suddenly softened. There aren't many things in the world that can trouble me, but this is very serious. There's nothing I can help you with. You do. Your powerful strength is my greatest weapon. I'm not interested in being someone else's weapon. Let me put it another way. What I want to say is that we should help each other. Where is this event happening? In China? No, abroad, Rome. What does it have to do with you? This will be my third time becoming the commander of the spiritualist army, Zhang Tianyi said. But I'm not confident this time. You can choose not to accept it. But why do you have to accept it? Do you have to force others to do it? It seems like no one can make things difficult for you. When you're in a certain position, many things are beyond your control, Zhang Tianyi said helplessly. Luckily, I'm not like you, Chen Zhao said, feeling relieved. It's too troublesome. Chen Zhao sighed. You're right. So are you going to help me or not? I'm not free, Chen Zhao said. I'm on vacation with my family. Where are you now? I can. Rome? Great. You're actually in Rome. The location of the spell is near Rome. This event is going to happen in Rome? Yes. Since you're in Rome, you have no reason to reject me. I told you, I'm on vacation. I have a dozen people around me. I'm not interested in saving the world. How about this? I know what you're worried about. I'll help you hide your identity and all your information. You just don't want to expose your power to others, right? It's not difficult. I told you, I'm on vacation. If this event goes out of control, your family will be in danger too. This event is very troublesome. We can leave Rome. There are many fun places in the world. We don't have to stay here. Do you really think it's that easy? I can't imagine how difficult it is. Also, I wish you success in your mission. I'll think about it. Okay, I'm busy. I'll hang up now. Chapter 2066. Of course he would refuse. What was there to hesitate about? It seemed like he had to change his schedule. Chen Zhao called Ruan Faxben. Faxben, when are you leaving Rome? Tomorrow, Faxben said. Tomorrow is the agreed time with that woman. Chen Zhao thought about it. If he left now, he would be worried about leaving Xian Li and the others in Rome. Then he would wait for a day and leave Rome tomorrow. Portia, book a charter flight for me. We'll leave Rome the day after tomorrow. Boss, are we going back to LA? No. Let's continue playing somewhere else, Chen Zhao said. But we're only halfway through Rome. There's still many places we haven't gone to. If we haven't gone, it means we're worthless, Chen Zhao said matter-of-factly. Let's continue somewhere else. Portia was already used to her boss's stubbornness. At the airport, Rosalick was 120% devout. He stood at the arrival gate, waiting for that person. It was as if he was about to face the God he believed in. In fact, Rosalick had been listening to that person's stories since he was very young. In his heart, he worshipped that man more than he worshipped the God he worshipped, because that person was more real and tangible. Finally, someone came out from the arrival gate. To welcome this person, the airport gate was temporarily closed for half an hour. So it was definitely this group of people coming out from the gate. He wore an old and simple Taoist robe and had his hair tied up in a simple bun. His footsteps were light but rhythmic. His gaze was peaceful but firm. There were also 20 disciples behind him. Rosalick had interacted with most of them before. Rosalick immediately walked up and bowed with his fists. Junior Rosalick greets the Celestial Master. Find a person in the photo. You have 1 hour. Zhang Tianyi didn't waste any words. He handed Rosalick a photo. Rosalick took the photo. When he saw the person, he couldn't help but be stunned. Celestial Master, I recognize this person. I know where he is. You know, Zhang Tianyi turned his head in confusion and looked at Rosalick. You know him? I don't know him very well. I've only seen him twice. Rosalick said, last night, the impure souls that came out of the netherworld water wreaked havoc in the city, so we sealed off a certain block. When we were moving the customers of a hotel, we happened to run into him in the hotel. Rosalick asked again, Celestial Master, do I need to bring him to you? Zhang Tianyi rolled his eyes. Arrest him? Don't let him smash your head. First, arrange a place for my disciples and grand disciples to stay. Give me this guy's address. I'm going there myself. How could Rosalick allow himself to miss such a good opportunity? Although he had seen Zhang Tianyi before, he had never seen him fight. This time, Zhang Tianyi actually said that he would go personally. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. However, was this fellow really worthy of the Celestial Master personally making a move? Rosalick had interacted with Chun Zhao twice, but he didn't find anything special about Chun Zhao. There wasn't even the slightest mana fluctuation. No, that's not right. Yesterday, on the street, that ferocious, unclean soul had walked towards that person's direction. But in the blink of an eye, that unclean soul disappeared. This was very suspicious no matter how he looked at it. Was that person also a spiritualist? And a spiritualist that was far stronger than him? It didn't seem like it. Rosalick tried hard to recall how he had interacted with Chun Zhao. To not be sensed by him, Chun Zhao was either wearing a magical item that could suppress his aura, or Chun Zhao was far stronger than him. Rosalick drove, while Zhang Tianyi sat in the passenger seat, resting with his eyes closed. Celestial Master, is that person very powerful? Zhang Tianyi turned his head slightly and looked at Rosalick. Yes, he is the strongest among his generation. The chief disciple of Mount Longhu, the 24th generation of the Scarlet Church, the saintess of the sect of fire, and His Highness Matthew of your church will all be under his shadow in the future. Zhang Tianyi didn't say anything else. Not just the future, but from now on. Oh, send out the holy contract with the holy seal. I also used the Celestial Master's token. How many people responded? Currently, there are 2,300 spiritualists from all over the world in Rome. There are even more who haven't landed yet. There should be more than 5,000 people by tonight. Time is too tight this time. All the airports in the world are giving priority to spiritualists to buy tickets. Is this enough? No, far from enough. Do you know how many spiritualists gathered for the big incident in China last time? Rosalick's expression changed slightly. Compared to last time, it was really insignificant. Compared to last time, the number of spiritualists that had arrived was less than 1/10. Looks like we have to find a way to seal off the passage to the nether water before it escalates into a major incident. Otherwise, the situation will escalate further. Zhang Tianyi sighed. Is the 23rd generation Blood Mary, the sect leader of the sect of Flame, here? The 23rd generation Blood Mary and Mr. Sands are both on their way. They'll arrive at Rome's airport in 3 hours, but someone else will take care of them. Where's your Pope? He's leading the Templars to suppress the passage. Is your Pope out his mind? Zhang Tianyi frowned. Rosalick turned his head and pretended not to hear. He's wasting his magic and energy. When we arrive, suppressing it together is the best choice. He's using his power alone now. The passage to the ghastly underworld water is near a small town of commoners. There are several hundred commoners in that town. If they're not suppressed, the residents of the town will be completely razed to the ground. His Holiness, the Pope, is doing this to protect the commoners. Forget it. What else could Zhang Tianyi say? The church had made mistakes, and the current Pope had been atoning for the mistakes of the church in the past. In terms of strength, the Pope was not the most outstanding among his peers. However, in terms of charisma and firm belief in light and justice, most of his peers combined were probably not as strong as him. The current Pope had a high chance of becoming an existence on the same level as him and the 23rd generation. However, because he had consumed too much of his origin in the past, he had been unable to break through the final barrier. Didn't your old man show up? He hasn't left the cathedral since he received the disciplinary punishment. M. Chapter 2067. Zhang Tianyi didn't like that person. He didn't like him even if he had changed for the better. Plus, there were some things that others could understand. But he himself didn't understand. This person was hopeless, no matter how powerful he was. Zhang Tianyi didn't like to work with him either. We're here. It's here. Rosalick parked the car in front of the hotel. At the same time, he ran to the side door and opened it for Zhang Tianyi. Oh. Zhang Tianyi looked up at the top of the hotel. It's really here. Suddenly, Rosalick felt a ripple. Alternate dimension? The entire hotel was instantly enveloped by the alternate dimension. Of course, he and Zhang Tianyi were also enveloped by it. This was the special characteristic of alternate dimensions. They could pull people with magic into them. Just then, a figure descended from the sky. Rosalick looked and realized that it was Chun Zhao. Chun Zhao landed on the ground with both feet. The ground was shattered by his stomps. Rosalick immediately went into a defensive stance. Old Zhang, I told you that this has nothing to do with me. Don't bother me. Also, Rosalick, did you bring this old man here? Look at how sincere I am. Is this how you treat a guest? Treat my ass. I'm not the owner here, and you're not a guest either. Scram and don't bother me. How about this? If you help me this time, I'll introduce you to a pretty little senior sister from Dragon Tiger Mountain. I won't let Feline know. How about that? Chun Zhao hated this shameless old man who had no bottom line. Scram, you're like a pimp now. Celestial Master Zhang was indeed an otherworldly master. That proud demeanor, that unconventional temperament, really made people feel as if they were bathed in the spring breeze. Rosalick didn't understand Chinese. He could only see that Zhang Tianyi's face was calm and modest while Chun Zhao's face was filled with rage, as if he would attack at any moment. Naturally, he thought that Chun Zhao was so angry because his whereabouts were exposed. Do you always force people to do things they don't want to do just because of your seniority? It won't work on me. What do I have to do for you to agree? What do I have to do for you not to make things difficult for me? It's not difficult for you. Not difficult? How can it not be difficult? Do you think this is a trivial matter? I don't need you to attack me directly. Just protect me and leave the rest to me. What do you mean by protecting you? I, the 23rd generation and the sect leader of the sect of Fire Worship sect, will seal the passage of the Nether Forest Netherwater. At that time, you just need to protect me from the attacks of those impure souls. You just need to stand there, and there won't be much trouble. You know, I don't like this. Chun Zhao's idea was simple. If he participated in such a big event, his name would easily be known by the supernatural world. The more famous he was, the more trouble he would face. Just like Zhang Tianyi, he was strong and famous. But if there was any big trouble, the first person they would think of would be him. Chun Zhao didn't want to come to him for any big trouble in the future. At that time, he would have to deal with all kinds of troubles all over the world. Chun Zhao didn't want to be a firefighter. His family already had enough troubles. Chun Zhao didn't doubt that he would stand out if he participated in this big event. Chun Zhao didn't dare to say that he was invincible. But there weren't many people who were stronger than him. His performance in this big event would definitely make him stand out from the crowd. It sounded shameless, but it was the truth. Things would definitely turn out like this. Don't worry. I can make it so that no one knows you did anything. You kill this guy first, Yi Zichen said. I can't, but I can cast a spell on him. It's called Speech Spirit Seal. What spell is that? He can only say what I want him to say. He definitely can't say what I don't want him to say. If he can't say it with his mouth, he can use other methods, right? Of course not. If he can, the Speech Spirit Seal will be meaningless, Zhang Tianyi said. Zhang Tianyi said, this is the magic of the ancient sages. Such an obvious loophole doesn't exist. I still don't like it. Chun Zhao thought about it and still found it troublesome. No, it was super troublesome. No one will see you do it, Zhang Tianyi said. If you think you're exposed, you can just leave. There won't be a third person present. No, Zhang Tianyi said. Plus, I can use the shrinking spell to make you smaller. You're not trying to harm me, right? The shrinking spell isn't dangerous at all. As long as you use your magic, You can return to your original size. Chen Zhao pursed his lips. Is this really dangerous? If we're not careful, the entire European continent will fall, Zhang Tianyi said. Even if it has nothing to do with you? For a Taoist like me, cultivation is also about the mind, Zhang Tianyi said calmly. I can't just stand by and watch. If outsiders see it, I can kill them. Put away the alternate space. Your children are in it too. This place is too foreign to them. Chen Zhao pursed his lips and put away the alternate space. Rosalind stared at Chen Zhao and Zhang Tianyi in shock. They actually didn't do anything. It made sense. No matter who faced Zhang Tianyi, they wouldn't have the courage to do anything. It seemed that this man had compromised with Zhang Tianyi. When? Tonight, Zhang Tianyi said. My family is here. I'm worried. I'll have my disciples guard here, Zhang Tianyi said. If my family suffers even the slightest bit of harm, I will kill all of your disciples. Rosalind, get your team members to stand guard here today. It doesn't matter if it's a spiritualist or some other kind of monster. Don't let anyone enter or leave. Zhang Tianyi shamelessly threw the ball to Rosalind. At this moment, another car came to the entrance of the hotel. Two people alighted. One of them was 23rd generation Blood Mary. The other person looked like a middle-aged man, but his eyes were filled with vicissitudes. He looked more like an old man wearing a middle-aged coat. Hi, Chun, 23rd generation Blood Mary greeted him first. Rosalind stared at him in surprise. He actually knew 23rd generation Blood Mary. Old man, did you convince Chun? Of course. Chun will cooperate with me. Blood Mary, Celestial Master Zhang, aren't you going to introduce this young man to me? The middle-aged man asked in a deep and rough voice. Under his rugged appearance, there was a peaceful and calm look in his eyes. A genius who stands above this era. Divine King of the Nine Heavens. Chapter 2068. Hello. The middle-aged man reached out to Chen Zhao. When Chen Zhao shook the man's hand, he felt the man's probing. Chen Zhao kept smiling, but the middle-aged man's expression grew more and more serious. Fine, I admit defeat. Finally, the man admitted defeat. No matter how much power he used, no matter how much magic he released, Chen Zhao kept smiling. Then he counterattacked bit by bit, until he almost crushed the bones in his hand. But power isn't enough in the spiritual world. The middle-aged man patted Chen Zhao's shoulder heartily. Chen Zhao felt that there was something wrong with his senses. Just now, he thought that the man was easy to get along with. But after touching him, he realized the man's eyes were too deceptive. Chen Zhao glanced at Zhang Tianyi and 23rd Blood Mary. What's with them? Why do they look like they're watching a show? Did they purposely bring this guy to him? Since they were old acquaintances with this fellow, it was impossible for them not to know his character. Did they purposely make this guy fight with him? Then he would use his own hands to kill this guy? Chen Zhao turned to look at the two. The two of them acted as if nothing had happened. We'll go first. We'll meet again tonight. Zhang Tianyi put his hand on Chen Zhao's shoulder. Old Zhang, what's with that guy? The leader of a new church, Khmer Deacon of the Holy Stone Church, Zhang Tianyi said. Then what's with you and 23rd Blood Mary? If you want me to kill him, just say it. If we say it directly, will you listen to us? You have a grudge against him? I don't have any evidence, but his reputation is really bad in the spiritual world. Oh, did he do anything that angered the heavens? He's called the Genius Killer, Zhang Tianyi said. He broke the limbs of one of my disciples. How can you tolerate that? Chen Zhao looked at Zhang Tianyi in surprise. With your protective personality, you can't be unmoved, right? I can't help it, Zhang Tianyi said helplessly. Even if you're in the wrong, you can't be a coward. This isn't the old bastard I know. My disciple was drugged, and the next day, a female corpse was lying next to him. Then he was sent to prison. While in prison, my disciple was severely injured. When we saw him in the hospital, he could no longer stand up. Now, he is still carrying the crime of rape and murder on his back. Seriously, did your disciple really not do it before? Chen Zhao looked at Zhang Tianyi suspiciously. Get out of here. My disciple wouldn't do such a thing. Moreover, all the people involved, including the police who arrested him at that time, The prisoners who injured him in prison, and even the body of the female victim, have all disappeared. If I say that there's no mastermind behind this, would you believe me? Then how can you be sure that he did it? There are some things that don't require substantial evidence. It's enough, Zhang Tianyi said. If that's the case, why don't you just kill him yourself? I'm a senior. If I were to make a move, my reputation and that of Mount Longhu would be completely ruined. I wouldn't be able to act freely. Chen Zhao thought about it. He could understand Zhang Tianyi's concerns. After all, Zhang Tianyi was different from him. His disciple was still carrying such a heinous crime. If Zhang Tianyi attacked Khmer Deacon, then Mount Longhu's Celestial Master sect would most likely bear the stigma of hiding evil. So when you introduced me, you purposely dug a trap for him? Chen Zhao looked at Zhang Tianyi in annoyance. You're shifting the blame to you. Taking care of him isn't a big deal. Someone from a Scarlet Church has suffered from him before. He's still somewhat restrained in Huaxia's territory. After all, the Huaxia government has never been lenient in cracking down on religions like the Holy Stone religion. However, in Europe, this is the headquarters of the Holy Stone religion. Today, the Holy Stone religion has already developed over 1 million followers. You can imagine how powerful they are. This Holy Stone Church is a cult. What they do is actually no different from a cult, but they're not as brazen as a cult. They do most of their things in private. Chen Zhao could always feel the gaze behind him. Chen Zhao had his own judgment. Perhaps Zhang Tianyi's words were from his own perspective, but he didn't have a good impression of Khmer Deacon either. When Chen Zhao turned around and looked at the pair of eyes behind him, they also met Chen Zhao's gaze. Find a chance to kill him. Chen Zhao saw these words in Khmer Deacon's eyes. Khmer Deacon also felt the words in Chen Zhao's eyes. Did you see his eyes clearly? Zhang Tianyi whispered. This man's eyes are too naked, Chen Zhao said. He doesn't hide his evil intentions at all. That's normal. He never knows how to hide when he's weaker than him. Weaker? Do you think I give off a weak feeling? That's how a person's senses work. If you haven't displayed your strength, you won't be able to see through a person. He's been in a high position for a long time, so he's long been used to looking down on others. Aside from a handful of people in the spirit world, there aren't many who can make him look them in the eye. It's also because of this psychological advantage that he has developed certain thoughts that he shouldn't have. But I almost crushed his bones just now, Chen Zhao said. He's not good at strengthening, and he has too many subordinates at his disposal, so he naturally thinks that he has an advantage over you. It's all your fault, Chen Zhao said, annoyed. Ha! You, me, and 23rd generation. As long as he sees our conversation as equals, he'll have evil intentions towards you. Instead of keeping you in the dark and being deceived by his hypocritical face before he takes action, it's better to let him show his evil intentions directly. So I have to thank you. There's no need to thank me. Just protect me tonight. Chen Zhao sighed. Zhang Tianyi's words weren't completely unreasonable. Based on his first impression, it was hard for Chen Zhao to imagine that Khmer Deacon would have evil intentions towards him. In the past, Chen Zhao had never believed that there would be evil intentions for no reason in this world. Now he believed it. They didn't even know each other, but Khmer Deacon could have evil intentions towards him. I have a suggestion, Zhang Tianyi said. Do you want to hear it? What suggestion? Rather than a suggestion, it's more like a request. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.